Hello and welcome to From Here to Paternity. I am Scott, the man who watches birds and polishes turds. I will pass it on to Big D.
I am Big D, the D-man, man with the plans. I will pass it on to Eric, also known as Tug.
I am Eric, the unapologetic geek, streamer of heaps, eater of hot dogs, and I'll pass it on to Joe.
And I am Joe, the not so freshly shorn.
Yeah, you don't look right, man.
Welcome to the love stream, according to my autocorrect on my phone.
I know. I guess, like, since Christmas is already passed, we do have to get rid of Angry Santa. And so, like, I think it's properly... He now looks like Angry the baby Santa. New Year.
Yeah. Just got to start over.
Right.
Yeah. I apologize about the voice. It's I've joined Eric in getting the crud like he usually has.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
I'm actually healthy this time.
Yeah, you gave it to me, you mother. Well, hold on for another couple minutes, and then I'll drop them.
There you go. Good catch.
Scott's volume quiet to anybody else, or is it just me?
It is a little low, yeah.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, surprisingly.
How is it if I bring it a little bit closer?
That's a little bit better.
Okay.
Just get right up on that mic and be like, oh yeah.
I'll be like,
hey. Fit it all with a pudding.
Oh, y'all. I'll scoot this over here. Get my mic in here. Okay. So, how was it? First off, how was everybody's Christmases?
Mine was yesterday. I had both of my daughters. It was great.
Nice.
I assembled Lego for 2 hours yesterday, and my neck hurts. I was hunched over the table with glasses.
We're so old.
General Lego, or was it a set?
It was a set. It was this house that had all these different sub-assemblies, and basically was it was like 3-tiered, and anyway, and then of course it said on it that it was for ages 6 to 12 or whatever, but it's I don't ever remember putting anything together that complicated anywhere near that age. That thing was all these little tiny itty bitty little pieces that all had to go on, and there's a flower wall and stuff, and anyway, yeah, would not recommend. 1 star.
They need to have a cutoff age for some of those too.
Yeah. But yeah, I spent 2 hours assembling that thing. The entire time, my 5-year-old was stealing pieces and playing with them, which is, understandable. She has the attention span of a gnat. So, at that age. But it was I'm sitting there assembling stuff. I was like, I need one of these pieces. Where's that piece? I can't find that piece. And she's got it right over there, playing with it, building things with it, little other things. It's do you want this house built, or or do you want me to go in the other room and you can just play with this? And no, I want you to build the house, Daddy. It's okay, well then I need the pieces, please. So anyway, oh, fun. It'd be totally okay if it was once or twice, but it was 12 or 15 times I had to remind her I actually need the parts to build the thing. So anyway, yeah, so my neck hurts. My neck hurts a lot right now. Oh, anyway, how was y'all's Christmas?
We did a weird thing this year where we we each basically had $200 and we bought our own presents. Oh. And then we wrapped them and put them under the tree. But we still we all knew what our presents were because we went ahead and bought them.
That's my Christmas every year.
Because my son's at that age where he just he doesn't really care about the whole mystery of presents anymore. He just wants what he wants. So that's how we did it this year, and it worked out. Everybody's happy. So
yeah, that's my life as a single dad. Is every year I buy myself presents, wrap them, put them under the tree, and decide who gets to give it to me. You make it
so sad.
Hey, it is what it is, At least I'm getting the things that I wanted, you know. I mean, instead of like, you know, a Santa tie or some ugly socks or something.
So he wraps some whiskey and he just like rips off the top of it and drinks it out of the wrapping.
Pretty much. No,
So-
I gave myself a new countertop oven this year, a new toaster oven.
Nice.
So
Very
yeah,
cool.
because the
That-
old one has
so-
decided to stop working properly. It takes 10 minutes to toast a piece of toast. So
That's not. Yeah.
that's not
Yeah.
acceptable. That's not acceptable
No.
at all. So I was like, yeah, this one's done. So yeah.
So Damien's definition of adult man Christmas is a Tuesday with more effort. Basically, you buy something and then you have to wrap it for yourself.
Yeah, exactly. On top of all the other gifts I have to wrap, mind you. So I wrapped all of the gifts this year, all of them, every last one.
Yeah.
So it was just like, yeah, that was a really good. See, I didn't have my daughters for actual Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, so I spent Christmas Eve and Christmas Day wrapping presents. And that's, you know, might as well, you know.
Right.
So and then they went under the tree and we opened them yesterday. So yeah, it's great. So
What about you,
and
Joe?
cooked lots of food and ate lots of food. It was lovely.
We did the waterfront mission Christmas
Oh, awesome.
lunch thing. Liam was sick at the time, so he stayed home, and we did that, and came back home. Actually, no, we did some unwrapping of some presents first. Then we went and did that. Came back home, grabbed stuff, went to the families, you know, and continued doing the presents and whatnot. And my wife made me or made us. She crafted this year, so she made me a little homemade kind of book all about me and things that she loves about me, and yeah.
That's
You know,
nice.
and made Liam kind of like an origami acorn type thing.
Okay.
So it was some crafting gifts from her, and trying to get Liam into vinyl. So he got and understanding like collecting and stuff like that, and maybe like trying to keep stuff. So we got the couple of the versions of the limited edition Now and Then by the Beatles, last song.
Okay.
Very cool.
And he's got he decided on a turntable. He decided on that's on its way.
What'd he get?
He wound up getting the it's the Bob Marley's Family makes a turntable. It's bamboo.
Not familiar
It's
with that
it's the House of Marley.
one. Okay.
I'll
have to look that up. real quick.
It's all recycled materials, low
That's
impact on the environment and whatnot.
Stir it up, turn.
Yeah, I think it's called Stir It Up. It's bamboo.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah.
That's
It's
cool.
It's got the
What kind of tone arms on that thing?
it's it's the magnetic tip, not the ceramic. And I can't remember. I think it's belt driven. I can't remember.
Well,
But,
yeah.
Yeah,
so-
but
some-
the
some of
head, I'm not
Yeah.
quite sure. It can be. We can swap it out.
Yeah.
We can always
Some of
upgrade.
the purists say that the belt driven's the only way to go, but of course, then there's the direct drive people. So anyway,
Yeah, well,
or you
I
can be
believe.
like me and have one of each. So
Well, I think it's belt driven because I was saying, it's good to learn how to be able to maintain.
mhm.
And you're also the idea to isolate the sound from
yeah,
the actual vinyl, so it's
Yeah.
not picking up that motor drive.
yeah.
But anyway, yeah, he's trying to get him into it. So he's kind of starting to get a little bit of taste for music, so that's why I'm
That's
kind of
good.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
at that age.
For so
Yeah.
many
It's always
kids.
cool to see
Yeah.
kids who get into it. Like I have a niece who is collecting vinyl now, and she's collecting some like early '90s alternative vinyl, which I love. It's so
Mhm.
great. Like
Yeah.
seeing her listen to Nirvana on vinyl. I mean, come on, it's great.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually found my old one of my old Bad Religion vinyls the other day.
Yeah.
I thought all my vinyl got destroyed when my mom's house flooded, but apparently I had a piece of vinyl at the house.
I only had a few, and I donated them to a mutual friend.
Mm. I have a very large collection of vinyl now because I inherited my father's when he died, as well as his
Nice.
turntable. So I've got an old Thorin's something. I think it's one. Was it the 150? Something or other turntable. Anyway, it's a nice one. But it needs a different tone arm because the one that came on it's kind of, I don't know, basic.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I'm gonna put a new one on it. I just haven't gotten around to it. But anyway, yeah, I have a huge vinyl collection at this point. So the TD 150. That's right, Mark II.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. The reason I think one of the reasons Liam went with the one he has is because it has the actual like an actual headphone port. You don't have to connect up a headphone amp yet. So it's stuff he can expand it, but he can listen to it now without having to do too much work. You know, just pop
so it
his
doesn't
headphones
have to
in.
go to an amplifier with a phono in, and
Yeah, it has a preamp in.
Yeah. Okay.
But you can bypass that and
Yeah.
go straight out the back. I
Yeah,
think you
see,
can
it's-
even hook it up to a computer and like rip
cool.
your vinyl if you wanted to.
Preamp
but-
on off output. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. It's got USB. Awesome.
Yeah, I mean for the price
Yeah,
for
that's sweet,
intro
dude.
level, it's
Yeah.
I mean because you get like
Did you get it on
high-end-
sale? It's on sale for $129 right now.
yeah.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's I mean for intro level,
Mhm.
it's great, and especially when turntables can get up to $1,000.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know,
It's ridiculous what some of them cost considering how simple they really are. But it's kind of that niche, audiophile thing these days. And I mean, vinyl's great. I like that. It forces people to like be deliberate in what they're doing when they're listening to music, because you have to get the record out, clean it off, put it on, set it. You have to basically listen to the whole album unless you want to get up every time.
Yeah.
Move the needle.
And,
So
and to me, that's one of the great experiences.
Yeah.
Album is listening to
Mhm.
from beginning to end.
Yeah.
How they put it together, why they put it in the order they put it in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's great, but there's no just throw this out there for all the I'm sure there's vinyl purists out there that'll disagree, but just keep in mind that the sound is not better than CDs. So it's really not. So, objectively speaking. Anyway, it's interesting to listen to though.
Yeah, I mean, and I've been trying to show them like the process, like how, I mean, it is a very niche skill in cutting the vinyl, and mastering it,
Show them some videos on that and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Oh, awesome. Yeah.
And all the work that goes into making a good record.
Vinyl's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the way they make it and whatnot. Yeah. Neat stuff. But yeah, so I have a huge collection now, and I haven't even listened to half of it. It's still in the boxes even right now. So one of these days I'm gonna pull it out. My dad had a very wide music taste, so there's everything from classical to some fusion stuff that I can't even listen to. It's like, this is noise. I don't like this. Anyway,
there's some interesting stuff out there.
There's definitely some interesting stuff out there. My dad was a big Moody Blues fan, and that wasn't even his weirdest stuff. So.
Let's get back, because
I
want to know what Scott did.
Yeah, what did Scott do for Christmas?
I mean, he didn't get stuck in the chimney this year. I don't think so. I mean, because he made it. He made it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Unless it was well lubed this year.
Yeah.
Just slid right through.
Did you get the butter out? Did you like?
I'm always thoroughly greased. Mama's little baby loves shortening.
Yeah,
And so
pre-lubed.
that's right. No, like we so I had the like sort of had the past 2 weeks off. Like I was supposed to be off, but you know, like a couple times there's stuff with my business that I did to go take care of or whatever during the break. But just spent the I've been spending the whole time with the kids and enjoying like them being off. Got my wife a desktop computer, and so like we're playing a game together that we're recording, and she's working on the editing of that one, and I'm still working on the editing of the other game that I did. And so because I'm gonna just put out the whole season and then do season 2 as soon as I get that out. And then yeah, my mom overloaded the kids. The kids were like, Grandma, you did more than Santa did. And so, but yeah, they did. They had a good time. And yeah.
How many gifts does Santa normally bring your kids? Each of your kids, and does Santa bring you a gift too?
No.
Okay.
No, like
Just
no,
the kids.
like yeah. We like typically we don't get like presents for us at all. This year I got her. We got her a computer, and then she got me this mic arm extender or whatever to kind of help with like the recordings and stuff like that. And then, but yeah, usually we don't get each other gifts because
Really?
yeah, like we use the money on the kids and stuff like
Gotcha.
that. And Santa like
Well, I mean, does like Santa bring all of the gifts to the kids, or do you have gifts from you and your wife?
no. So we'll get the kids gifts, and then Santa gets the obviously gets the girls gifts, and then my mother will give gifts, and then but yeah, like there's multiple times where like they get exhausted from opening presents, and so
There's just so many.
yeah. And so like what was it? The first year that we were here, that when we moved up north, like it started snowing, or it had snowed Christmas Eve. And so we had a lot of snow Christmas Day. And so they were opening them, and they just got like tired of it, and they were like, we want to go play. Can we just go play in the snow? Like because it was their like it was Christmas. It was like the second time that they got to play in snow or something like that. And so they were just like so overjoyed and excited about it. And we're like, all right, yeah, sure, go ahead. It was our first Christmas in our house up here. And so, yeah, they like, yeah, by the end of it, like I'll record them opening presents and stuff like that. And then send that to whomever it needs to get sent to. And you know, there's a certain point where it's just like, okay, just get the next one. Let's get the next one. All right, let's go get through it. Okay, let's get the next one. Let's just get through it. If we don't, it's going to take all day. Let's
just open the presents.
so open them. You're never going to have a chance to actually play with all of these. So if we don't do this, and so we just like conveyor belt it to them and
Just toss that one aside. Here's
the
another
wife.
one.
Yeah, the wife is grabbing some and then bringing them over, and they're like, okay.
Here,
and
I'll
then
open it
she's
for
going
you. I
back
don't
to
care. Just get it done.
Present. Look, here,
So-
you got a present. Next.
My youngest got a Switch this year, and so my oldest already had a Switch, and so now
Nice.
they're going to be able to like play together on their own individuals and take those. And
Nice.
so yeah,
Nice.
Not the traditional Switch. Just for clarification, right? You should have put coal on
Not the Silver
top
Switch.
I made her go
so
out
that
there.
when she got to the Switch,
Yeah, right.
She picked the Switch last week and she just didn't know.
Santa likes to bring there's these like coal candies, and so they always like to put that in the stockings, and so they'll get that.
Yeah, I
And
give
then,
my kids get one gift from Santa each because Santa's a busy man and his sack's only so big. Sorry, that sounded bad. Anyway,
It's yeah,
no,
but
well, like,
yeah.
it's a
when,
magical sack.
no, when Joe was like, "Yeah, we're getting Liam into vinyl," I was like, "Okay, that could be a child protective
Not
service issue."
not latex.
Not leather and latex, Scott. Just fine.
Yeah, I did not buy him a gimp mask. No,
Though he did ask for one, strangely enough.
no.
The old one's getting worn out. Like the ball, just like it doesn't even like really like trap in the ball or help it. Like it's you gotta.
Yeah, and that's a whole nother skill of maintaining, and that's
It's just
You know.
so much effort.
Are you even allowed to complain if your gimp mask is old?
You have to do it very
It-
politely and
yeah,
say
it all-
master at the beginning.
it all
of the
depends
sentence.
on what your agreed upon rules are.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, our problem is that our safe words are always in like Swahili, and I can never remember what it is.
Uh,
All right, so let's get to so have we, because tonight's New Year's Eve, or today is New Year's Eve and tomorrow's New Year's, have you guys thought of any New Year's resolutions?
I'm thinking I'm gonna keep it at 1920 by 1080. Honestly,
yeah,
dad joke achieved.
yeah. I'm capturing in 4K and just downscaling. So
honestly, I do need to eat better, and so I've been trying to think of like things that are doable, things that changes that I can make that aren't like extreme. Like I'm just gonna tell myself I can only have fast food like so often, but I haven't actually come up with anything firm yet. I think I probably should since I've only got a few hours left. But that's about it. Usually I don't even really do resolutions, but I don't know.
You got to come up with something firm if you want to be firm. And so
I know, right?
Yeah, you definitely got to do that.
Because the last few months have been really bad. My A1C is not doing good, and like, I just need to chill out. That's all. That's all I got.
Damien, you got anything?
Honestly, no. I have not thought of a single resolution other than, much like Eric, I need to be much more mindful of what I'm eating, and how much I'm eating and when and so on and so forth, kind of thing. I need to cut out the snacking. I need to, just do better as far as all that goes. And more exercise and stuff like that. But I haven't like solidified, that resolution yet. I'm just kind of like, just popping around in my head, but it's basically the same resolution I have almost every year. So, like, it's like, how long is this one going to last before I break it? Yeah. That kind of thing. So, I don't know. We'll see. I have a few hours yet.
My biggest problem for me is like Friday night and Saturday night. I basically like have a night to myself in the house. Like my son goes to sleep, my wife goes to sleep early, and I've just got the house to myself for several hours, and it's me alone with the kitchen. Like it's hard, man.
Yeah.
It is really hard to just not walk in there and start eating.
Yeah. Part of my problem is I do the grocery shopping.
Yeah, so do I. Yeah.
And I always do it during the week, or typically do it during the week when it's like end of the work day before I've had anything to eat. So I'm walking through the grocery store. I'm like, I'm hungry.
Yeah, so everything.
Look, Zapp's has the new pretzel voodoo pretzel, twists out. I'm gonna buy a bag of those. It's like, oh, that'll last me all week. No. No. No, not even close. Maybe 3 nights. So it's like, you add up the calories and it's like, yeah, that's a little bit outside what I should be eating. So
And keeping candy in the house is just like
Oh,
murder
Christmas
on
is
me.
horrible for that.
Oh God.
Yeah.
You get the Halloween, you get like the Thanksgiving, you get Christmas, all of that. Like you just wind up with all this stuff in your house.
And Valentine's Day is
shouldn't
around the
have.
corner.
Good point.
Yeah. And then Easter.
See, that's another thing. I like. We don't get candy for each other on Valentine's, so that's you know, like with having kids and no one really to babysit like the kids. We tend not to even be able to like go out necessarily, and so.
Well, thankfully, my wife understands my position on Valentine's Day. So, fuck Valentine's Day, just in case you were
On your knees?
I was broken up with twice on Valentine's Day when I was younger, so I hate Valentine's Day.
Trauma.
Yes,
Yeah,
trauma.
like- yeah, I
Here they are.
yeah, I like the whole like. I don't mind doing like a nice dinner or whatever, but like the whole like
Hallmark
getting
part of it.
Yeah, like that I hate, right?
Mhm.
Like, and so I like
You
I'd
don't
rather-
buy your wife blood diamonds or anything?
No. Like we get really gothic, and so it's like a fake diamond with actual blood in it.
Oh,
but
there you
other
go.
than that,
That's
yeah,
pretty
yeah,
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no. Fortunately, yeah, she hates jewelry, so like.
Yeah,
she's
my
not-
wife doesn't like jewelry and she doesn't like flowers, so that makes my life a lot easier. She likes boxed mac and cheese.
When I was single before I had kids, there was almost never any candy in this house ever. Like no chocolates, no nothing, because I'm not a big candy person, and so I just wouldn't buy it. I would get like this little tub about this big. More it's ice chocolate or icy chocolates from my grandmother, and they would last me through at least the summertime, because there's maybe 24 pieces in there. I'd have like one a week kind of thing. But now it's like with every holiday, there's always candy here. It's like everywhere. It's everywhere. It's hidden in the cupboard up high too, and it's like. I was going through there like trying to make room, and I was like, I was finding stuff from like 5 years ago. I was like, oh, well, we forgot about that.
Yeah, like the fact that like kids oftentimes are a rationalization for getting candy,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
right? and that well, I'm getting this for the kids, except the kids are like they'll get one and the rest of the package is completely empty. And you're like, wait, I thought this was for the kids like, hey, what happened to you ate them all? Yeah. I had one. What do you mean I ate it all? It was a pack this big. Like, how is that one? Like, so yeah.
It's weird. Like before I became diabetic, like I wasn't like a big candy eater. I would eat candy, but like it wasn't like an everyday thing. Like it wasn't something I loved or cherished. But then as soon as I became diabetic, the freaking cravings, man. Oh, I forgot what stream I'm on. The fucking cravings. Just like the worst.
Yeah, and we're 30 minutes in, so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we can
yeah,
say
we're
whatever the
good.
fuck we want.
Yeah, no, it's yeah, that's the shopping discipline. Right?
That's really hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the things
when
that
you're hungry, you're hungry, and it all looks good, and you're like, I'm gonna get
like
that.
buying something from the grocery store when you're hungry that you plan on like, oh, this would be a good meal for whenever, or this would be a good snack for whenever, and then it's like, then you've eaten and you're like, this is not appealing whatsoever. Like I have no desire.
Why did
to,
I
like,
buy this?
This is like absolutely like, what was I thinking? And it's like in that moment, had I eaten it, I would have loved every single second of it. But now I'm like, I don't even know why. I
bought
bought
some
it.
Yeah,
like
that-
pre-breaded chicken strips a few weeks back that were just horrible.
Yeah, those are like either good
a
or
lot
bad.
of bread
Yeah.
with some really tough chicken inside.
They were
yeah.
dry. I did it per direction. They were dried out, friggin', tasteless chicken, and the breading was like this, I don't know, it was like all, it was like real thick, and it was like they didn't like, I don't know if they just didn't season it or I don't know what it was. Just, they were horrible. I was like, oh, I don't think I'll buy that one again.
That's why they were on sale.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly. Right.
Buy one, get one.
Yeah.
Had 2
Is that-
bags
that-
I had to eat.
Yeah, that's my big struggle is like,
Yeah.
because I tend not to eat breakfast. Yeah,
Mhm.
just chug coffee, and so like I need to go to the grocery store, and so my ass is always hungry. Usually when I'm
Hungry,
going to the
yeah.
grocery store,
Mhm.
it's like,
Pretty
damn it, I
those
need to remember to
dishes.
eat.
No, oh,
You know.
dude, you want to talk about? Okay, so here's the thing, like skipping breakfast, like skipping eating when you first wake up is, I would say, as far as regard to just general health, is the second worst thing that
I know.
No. Because
I
this
know.
is something
It's
I had to
because I don't
change.
get my metabolism go. It's like when I do eat breakfast, it's like I'm like hungry all freaking day, and I need, I try not to like graze and just like eat. But if I don't eat breakfast, it's like I get hungry around lunch, maybe. I'll definitely be hungry around dinner. You know, my eating habits are just crap, and it
Yeah.
has a lot to do with having to change schedules constantly too. So.
Yeah. No,
I
absolutely.
find
No,
that
no. I was
eating,
gonna,
eating breakfast makes
second
me
behind
not
sleep.
hungry at lunch.
Yeah.
So I can eat breakfast and dinner only, and I'm good. You know, I don't need lunch.
well, and like the and oftentimes, per the studies and stuff like that, if we skip breakfast, we tend to eat more throughout the day.
Mm-hmm.
Like when it comes to
Snack more,
when
yeah.
it comes to grazing, and also the size of the meals, because where like our bodies are wanting more nutrients, and we have a harder time maintaining muscle mass. And so like, especially as big guys, we'll have it in our legs, but it's harder to maintain muscle mass up in our upper body. And instead of having the muscle mass in our upper body and less in the lower body, we'll have more in the lower body, less in the upper body, but the upper body is compensated with adipose tissue rather than muscle
Which is
tissue.
why our legs have to get so strong to carry those fat
Exactly.
asses around. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Exactly.
Gotta carry all that weight.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
I got shins
yeah.
of steel.
Yeah,
man.
I find the opposite. I find I'm more hungry throughout the day if I do eat breakfast.
Mhm.
Because I'm guessing it's just the getting my metabolism going or whatnot.
Mhm.
It's
Or
like if
you're
I
going
don't eat
into-
breakfast, yeah. Good.
or it could be that what's happening is it's like that feast or famine kind of thing, and that your body's thinking that we've been in famine stage for so long. Now we're seeing it as like we've got the feast stage, and so we're trying to gorge as much as we can to kind of make up for the fact that, and if I'm curious, I don't know this for a fact, but I'm curious if you're consistent with breakfast, if you'll notice that taper off.
Probably. Yeah, but I don't.
That's a big
I don't
hit,
pay
yeah.
attention because I don't. Yeah.
Mhm.
Because yet again,
I mean, again, with me, it's diabetes. Like, it's really forced me to have meal discipline. I have to have three or four meals a day, or my blood sugar goes crazy. And I have to keep them the same basic size. Like, we do things really bass backwards here in this country, where we have like these giant dinners and smaller lunches, and that's bass backwards. We should have it the other way around, because you're not supposed to eat all those calories and then go to bed. That's like terrible for you.
Mhm.
Right.
You know. So I've had to learn to try to keep all my meals the same amount of calories, and space them out evenly throughout the day. And that takes a lot of work. And frankly, thinking about it, it's annoying.
Yeah.
Especially if you're used to like doing the small breakfast, medium lunch, large dinner.
Which
you
is
know.
where I used to be.
Yeah. So.
I would eat like a piece of toast and go to school, you know?
Mhm.
Well, and when you think about like country breakfast, right, which is like this massive plate, because they're going out and working in the farm, right, and so they need all those calories in order to like have the energy level to get all the work done or whatever, and you know, that like you tended to have bigger breakfast, bigger lunch, and then a smaller dinner or whatever, because you're going to bed shortly right after that. Like,
But there ain't
Because
nothing
it's getting
better
dark.
than a country breakfast, man. Like
Mm.
Sizzler type style giant buffet
Mhm.
breakfast. I eat the
Yeah.
shit out of that.
Yeah.
oh man, that's one of the things I miss about what's the restaurant with the rocking chairs on the front porch?
Cracker
Country
Barrel.
Cracker Barrel.
Cracker Barrel. Yeah, Cracker Barrel.
Yeah.
No, I was thinking Country Buffet, but I was like, no, it's not Country Buffet. Cracker Barrel. I miss Cracker Barrel. Oh, I miss Cracker Barrel. Like, that was like good eats. That or Lambert is really good. That's a really good place to eat too.
I've only eaten at Cracker Barrel like maybe 2 or 3 times in my life and can do without it, honestly. It's not bad. It's just not what not what it's cracked up to be in my mind, at least,
I do love
just-
Cracker Barrel. It's like for us, it's like road trip food. We only go to Cracker Barrel on road trips. And so like it's always like tied in my brain with like good memories of road trips and going places. Not necessarily the food itself, because the breakfasts are good. They are actually delicious and flavorful, but the rest of their food is kind of bland. It's not bad by any stretch. I like their chicken and dumplings and stuff, but it is kind of old people food.
I'm more of a Waffle
it's-
House guy myself, but So,
Hey, nothing wrong with Waffle House. If you
No.
like your grease with some ash in it, that's great.
Yeah.
yeah, that's how it's supposed to be served.
If you like your
The guy behind the
food-
counter has to have like several tattoos and a criminal record.
no,
And he
if-
has to
if-
look like he hasn't showered in at least a week.
Exactly, because
you
he's
know,
been so busy making eggs.
exactly.
If you like your hash browns with a healthy level of hepatitis A, that is your place to eat. So no, I don't mind
love
I don't mind Waffle House, but like for me, I rank Cracker Barrel above Waffle House. I
I'm
do
not
like
saying
Waffle
it's
House,
better than Cracker Barrel. I'm just saying as I prefer it.
yeah, but I do love like their pecan waffles. Oh, that's some good crap
yeah.
right there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's good stuff right there.
Yeah, those are. I have dreams about those.
I love going to Waffle House at like 3 a.m. in the middle of nowhere. You
Mhm.
know, it feels like they're all like connected, like in some kind of weird quantum flux. Like you go into one Waffle House, you're going into every Waffle House in the world.
Yes, yes. It's like like an episode of the Twilight Zone or something. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like you could walk into one and walk out of another somewhere else.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. You would like, wait, what?
It's like, where's my car? Oh, you just borrow somebody else's. It's okay.
It's just what happens at the Waffle House.
Yes. Some
I almost got
Oh.
shot at a Waffle House once.
really.
It's a long time ago.
What did you
It's one of-
do?
I didn't do anything. It was like there was an argument going on between a couple of other people, and it was one of those 3 o'clock in the morning things. And I think it was in Gainesville actually. And
That explains it.
one of the dudes just pulled out a gun and he was getting ready to shoot up the whole place because he was so pissed off. But there was an ex-Marine who happened to be sitting at the counter, and he just like throttled him and got the gun out of his hands before you could blink. It was amazing. One of the coolest things I ever saw. But yeah,
you
for a second
sons
there,
of
I
bitches.
I almost pooped my pants.
You sons of bitches! I said smothered, not covered. Ah!
I don't even know what they were arguing about, but it was very stressful.
Just kidding. No,
I was gonna say,
love.
Eric, had you pooped your pants, you would have just been like, half of everybody else.
Nobody would have noticed. Yeah.
Nobody would have noticed.
I
You would have fitted it even
It's,
more.
it's a safe space. Yeah.
Yeah.
no. The problem is with the quantum entanglement of the Waffle House quantum entanglement theory of Eric's Waffle House quantum entanglement. He would have shat his pants in every single Waffle House in the entire universe.
I
So
have
that's
shot
what-
across the multiverse.
So,
Quick
would've
thing, Scott. Are you talking into the tip of your microphone?
no, I'm trying to talk at the side.
Oh, okay. Because it just sounded muffled.
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to adjust it a bit so that.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Is it better if I just leave it like this?
That is
Yeah.
better, actually.
Yeah.
Okay,
that is
okay,
better.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. There we go.
Because yeah, those you speak into the side. This style you speak into the end. But
No, I know. I just wasn't sure. Like,
I just thought maybe he was defaulting to his natural position of addressing the
Right
tip.
at the tip. Yeah.
he's got that big old phallic symbol in front of him.
Yeah.
He can't help
He
it.
hasn't started licking it yet, though. There's that.
the slurping noises.
He
coming
does. He
soon
was
on.
looking at it yearningly though a minute ago. He's like,
Yeah.
So Joe, do you have a New Year's resolution?
No, I don't really do those. And it's fine when I hit that I need to make a change, try and make a change whenever it is.
So what about this? Like,
but I struggle with it, period.
I was about to start singing that. For once in my life,
I need a mirror. Where's the mirror?
Make a
I
difference.
could look at the screen, but I mean, I guess that's the black mirror, right?
Who am I to be blind?
okay. So
Simpatico.
as a family man, what's one thing you would like to do a little bit differently, like this year?
Me or everybody? Who
Just
are you
everyone.
addressing?
Since the resolution thing is like, well, I don't do resolutions. Like,
Get my son to do more yard work.
okay,
I say it as a joke, but I mean it.
Reasonable
really do
thing
mean
to ask. Yeah.
okay. So, but that's for your son to do differently. Like, what do you want to do differently as a?
Well, it's going to require Eric to. Actually,
Yeah, I have to be
Yeah,
more of an
accountability.
enforcer.
more
Okay.
yard work.
More accountability, like
Yeah.
okay, to improve your accountability of your son. Yeah, that's something that like I've been really like pushing myself to like.
Oh my god, and he just turned 15.
Oh.
I've got to teach him how to drive.
Oh.
I don't want to think about that.
Oh,
Yeah.
My oldest pulled one of those. Why would I ever need to drive? It's like so you can have a job and get out of this house one day.
Do something.
do you have a school nearby that already has some of the stuff, like at least the
I think so. I have to
patterns
go
laid
to-
out so you can
Yeah.
practice?
I'm pretty sure I do. Yeah. But we also have like a park that has a big open like parking lot type area, but it's also got a lot of like side roads that go in circles. And so I was gonna try to teach him some stuff there because it's safe and easy. As long as he doesn't like gun it, we'll be fine. I can't teach him here in the neighborhood though because we're on like this massive hill, so that would be like really stressful for him to like learn on a massive hill. It'd be like trying to
Yeah.
learn how to drive in San Francisco or something.
Eesh.
You all have automatic or stick?
Automatic, even though I love stick. But yeah,
We all knew that about you, Eric.
Yeah, I know. It's no
So I
secret.
think deep down inside, we all do.
I love my stick. But
I did try to teach my girlfriend stick shift when I was like 17, and yeah, it didn't go well. We almost wrecked the car, real bad.
see, I learned how to drive on a stick shift. That was oof.
Oh,
That's like
I mean, it gives
learning
you a
how
level
to
of
like chew
control,
gum and
you
pat
know.
your head at the
But
same
it is
time.
hard.
Kinda-
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you learn on it,
Mm.
you're good. You're good to go.
Yeah.
Like automatic will seem easy after that.
Oh yeah, everything
Mhm.
was everything after that was easy, but it was like learning how to like really learning how to drive a car, like paying attention to not hitting things and paying attention to what the transmission and engine are doing all at the same time.
No,
It
yeah,
was-
it's
it was like,
complicated.
oh my god, I must have stalled that thing a dozen times.
oh, the abrupt stop and the thrust forward,
Yeah.
like I think that's what is keeping my chiropractor in practice. Is that
I'm sorry, Scott. I didn't mean to like fuck you up when you were young.
no? I'm talking about like when I was learning, like
I know. I'm just saying 'cause
Well,
I
the
used to drive a
Dodge
stick
Colt.
and I was never great at it for a long time. So
He's really wearing out your back there, you know.
yeah, driving that stick, just
The
gotta
thing that
keep
always
driving.
stressed me out about driving stick when I do drive stick, and I still know how, I've done it, is being at the top of a hill at a red light, and there's like cars like right behind you, basically tailgating you, and like having to go really fast so that you don't
Yep.
back into them.
Yep.
That's stressful as
I
hell.
always thought I should get a bumper sticker on the back that says "I drive stick." Just so
Stay
this-
away.
Stay back. This is a stick shift. Stay back.
Yeah. Don't be one of those people that just keep slowly rolling forward behind me.
Oh god,
Yeah,
yeah.
really.
I might roll back.
Creepers. Fucking hate
I
them.
hate those people.
Yeah. Nothing like learning how to feather that clutch on a hill.
Yeah. Luckily I grew up in Orlando, so there were no hills. There were overpasses. So that's about it. Well, it annoyed me though is when I learned on a stick, and then as soon as I turned 16, my dad had just sold his Dodge Daytona. And it was a great fucking car. It was so nice, and I was dying to drive it. And he sold it right before I got my license for some reason. Bastard.
Because he knew you. He knew what would happen.
He knew exactly what was going to happen.
He wanted to get some money for it first
Yeah.
before it got fucked up.
Is there anything, or Damien, is there anything that you want to work on or do better as an adult man?
As an adult man.
Adult? Who said anything about us being adults?
I may be old, but I haven't grown up yet. So.
Yeah.
I don't know. Probably similar to Eric is being more, accountable to getting my daughter to do more things for her, that are age appropriate for her, as far as helping out around the house. I am starting to get her there, but it's, the whole being, observant of the current situation in the house and not having to be asked constantly to do things. It's like,
That's
if
a
you
real
see
struggle.
dishes on the countertop, maybe you should do something about them. If you see a piece of paper on the ground, maybe you should do something about it instead of just walking past it 100 frigging times, and just having those discussions. And, her and I had a little discussion the other day. She's like, well, it's just easier if you just tell me when. It's like, well, I shouldn't have to. You should be able to see that the carpet needs to be vacuumed. It's like, when it starts to grow fuzz, it's
Yeah, the big one that
time.
I've been doing is like he'll come to me and he'll be like, "Have you seen my blank whatever?" And I'll just be like, "Well, if you put it away, you'd know where it is, wouldn't you?"
Mm-hmm.
I sound
Yep.
so much like a dad when I do that, but I say it like
yeah.
once a week at least.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. But that kind of thing. But aside from that, just, I don't know, trying to get off my ass more and do stuff, more, whatever that stuff may be.
Just anything where you're
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
on your ass. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Just be more active. So that kind of stuff. How about you, Scott? What do you think you need to do more? Or
So for me,
do
like,
better?
so this year I'm for the year I'm down 34 pounds, so I'm happy about that.
Ooh.
And,
Very good.
And then we go to the gym 5 days a week, and so we started that early last year, and so yeah, like I buy a lot of the groceries, so I'll buy them like things that they want, to like their bread or whatever. And then for me, I buy my like bread that has like fewer carbs, higher proteins, things like that or whatever. And then like there's like they'll like, oh, like I want to like eat this, and I'm like, okay, you need to let me know which one, because when I buy just that, then you complain that you don't have any bread. But when I buy it just for me, then you're like, well, wait, you can't have it. And then I'm like, you sons of guns, right? And so it's like, you got to make up your choice, make up your mind. Either we're all doing this and jump on board, or you're not touching my stuff. Like, and so like, I like, that's one of the struggles that we've had in our household. But I think like,
You have to make your food so disgusting that they don't want to touch it.
oh, Well,
That's what you
like
gotta do.
it kind of is, right?
Caveman
Like,
bread, yes.
like,
You have to spit out the bones, kind of.
like I got like I
Why are
got
there
like
bones in my bread.
I've got regular English muffins for them,
Mm.
and then I've got my like low carb, high protein English muffins, and like I look and I'm like, did y'all use my English muffins? They're like, well, we're just like trying it, and I was like, but there's only like 5 of them, like
Yeah.
in a package, and then like she makes it for her, one for her and one for and half for my daughter, and my daughter's like, oh, I don't like this, and I'm like, what are you doing? And like I don't have diabetes, but I kind of like have gotten into the motif of living as if I have diabetes,
It's
because
just living healthy. I mean, that's all it is.
right,
It's
exactly,
not-
right. And so it's healthier diet. So I don't use like I use sugar-free jellies and stuff like that. But like
fart
for my
food.
yeah, exactly right. But I like for the girls I use like, you know, like more like there's some local, because we have a lot of berries up here and stuff like that in the Pacific Northwest, and so
Oh, berries. Yes.
yeah, and so like there's some natural like jammers and things like that. So I try to get these like really natural like homemade
No
products
sugar
and stuff
added
like that.
kind of stuff.
Right,
Yeah.
right. It's just it's the berries and gelatin and whatever and all that, you know, made in.
What's funny is I think that like natural jams that are like either no or low sugar taste way better than the
So
ones
much
that are
better.
just because like the ones you buy in the store like Schmuckers and whatnot, it's like half sugar.
It's
and
just
like-
sugar. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's like eating a
really
hard
gross.
candy that's mushy, you know?
Right.
It's like, ugh, what is
And
this?
and
So
so
you
like
kind of
she's
understand how the rest of the world views American food as just being
Mhm.
Oh my
hyper
God.
sweet and gross. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Way
outside
too
of
sweet.
Japan. Japan's even worse than we are, but
Yeah,
that's,
well,
that's beside the point.
but they eat a lot of fish, so that's okay.
Yeah.
it balances out. But no, like and so it like she's like, why don't you eat this? She won't eat it. And I'm like, well, why did you cook it for her when she's not going to eat it? Like,
Mhm.
I was like, what are you doing? No, you're just wasting the food that I like have a limited amount.
And it was
That stuff
fine
is
until
really
you put that
expensive
high
now.
It's
sugar-
expensive,
Yeah.
and I have to go shop sooner. I hate shopping. Like,
And it's like
don't
it's
make
like
me
you
do
want
more work.
You want to eat it because you don't want to like waste it, but at the same time, it's like it was fine until you put all that crap on top of it that
Exactly,
I can't eat.
right?
So you know now you're either gonna scrape that shit off or
It's I just like it's like so either jump on board with me or leave my stuff alone. Like that's
Yeah.
one thing. So, anyways, that's my little like rant about about
dude.
that. But like,
I could go into that about my mother and her eating some of the shit in the fridge. That's like, anyway, that's a different
Yeah.
story. And she's sick and she can't do much. So it's like if it's within arm's reach in the fridge, it's that's what she's grabbing because it's easy. So
no, like, I know. I
You
even
need your own like
organized-
lockbox.
No,
I
I
push everything to the back on the top shelf and hide it behind other things so that I know my daughter won't get it because she doesn't even like if it's not like right there, she can't see it. It's invisible to her.
doesn't
I've
exist.
arranged the fridge. I have organized the fridge based on that. I've organized the pantry based on that. Like mine, and yet still, like my stuff gets like picked apart. And I'm like, what are you doing? So, anyways,
You need a locked cabinet.
I know, right? So
My son's
so-
almost as tall as me now, so like I don't have any safe spaces anymore.
Yeah, there's nowhere to hide it anymore. He can see all the top shelves now.
Yeah, it's like,
It's,
wait
you know,
a minute, what have you been keeping up here? Nothing.
Yeah, my daughter found the top shelf in the cupboard in the kitchen finally, and it's like I've been noticing the snacks kind of disappearing and whittling away. It's like, dang it!
I
she found them.
think Eric just admitted that his son has prevented him from being able to be a snowflake because he has no more safe spaces. And so... sorry. And so,
There's no more
That's why I
safe
couldn't
spaces in my
tackle the office job, is because they wouldn't give me a beanbag chair.
right.
They would like make me have hours. Stupid.
Ludicrous stuff. No, like so there's things that I've been implementing to and like mindfulness times and stuff like that. I definitely need to get better about using the light therapy lamp, because with us getting like cloudy, I have to use the light therapy lamp to kind of get more vitamin D. And
You said
you're
light
getting
therapy
sad.
lamp, and I had a flash to that episode of what wasn't the Hannity show? What the hell was that? What the hell was the other weird dude on Fox News?
You got
Or
to
he
be
had-
way more specific than that.
Yeah, like Tucker.
It was this thing where this guy was
Tucker's not on
standing.
Fox anymore.
Tucker Carlson when he was standing in front of the red light, shining on his
junk.
testicles. Yeah.
Yep.
I was like, is this the light therapy you're talking about, Scott?
No, just a
No,
little.
he's talking
like-
about seasonal. Was it seasonal
Sad.
affective disorder?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but like
Well, it's true. It does happen. So.
Oh,
no,
absolutely.
no.
Like,
no.
when I lived in Florida, I didn't know that it was really a thing. Like, I'd heard about it and I studied it because I, studied psychology. But then once I moved north and, the seasons actually change more, I started to realize it's a real freaking thing, man. Like, you don't get that vitamin D, you're going to feel it. It's going to wear you down.
Yeah.
So,
Everybody
like
needs that vitamin D.
Yeah. No, I was kind of rolled my eyes a little bit about like the SAD because that's an actual diagnostic. That's like
No, it is.
That's an
I know
actual
it is.
diagnosis. Yeah. And that's why because it's like it's not necessarily seasonal affective disorder, but it's definitely the impact of a cloudier environment.
No,
like,
I get it. I'm not saying that you have the actual.
Yeah, it's not the
diagnosis.
actual disorder. It's not like affecting your day-to-day life,
but
and
it is.
functionality.
It is something.
I
that
have to
if you live
clarify
in,
that.
Yeah,
if you
because
live
as
in
a
my-
professional, I know.
Right.
you're-
Yeah. I have to clarify that.
Yeah,
but
if you live in northern climates, it affects you no matter what, whether or not you think you are being affected or not. But you do get
absolutely.
affected by it because there's far fewer hours in the day that the sun's out and the sun's not as bright up there. So, like down here, there's fewer hours in the day during the winter, but the sun's still just as fucking bright.
Well, but also no. Like, there's a difference between fewer hours. Like Florida and like in Florida, you go from like the sun setting at like 8 to like the sun setting at like 7. Like,
well, no, it goes down at 4:45 right now, so it's dark at 4:45 or 5 o'clock or whatever. So it is much shorter. But the thing is we're closer to the sun here, so it's a lot brighter here. So even though it's shorter hours, if you go outside at all, you're getting a brighter sun in southern.
I'm gonna be
climates
honest with you.
anyway.
The sun's already going down, and it's like 3:30.
It's
But
going
now-
down here too. So
like in the summers, like the sun will set at around 10 in the evening.
So that's the difference between north and south. Is in the south, it still goes down in the longest day of the year. I think the sun goes down at 8:45 or something like that. So whereas when I lived up north, it went down at like 10 o'clock. So in June, so.
And so like and then here it's getting dark at like 4 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Like people living in Nome are just thinking, man, these people, what are they complaining about?
Oh, I know, right?
The sun's been down for 30 days.
I don't even remember what that is.
The sun, what's the sun? You mean that bright thing that used to be in the sky? Oh, we killed it. We wished it away.
At least you guys don't have to deal with those vampires.
Right. That's exactly what Fortunately, they have Josh Hartnett, and so that's going to make all the difference. No, like, but yeah, no, I think like, so for me, it's a lot of like, maintaining, and then like, with my girls, I'm constantly trying to like, we talk about their like roles and responsibilities in the house, and so trying to incentivize, get them to think about like their obligations to the house, stuff like that. And so I think like instituting a day like where if chores are not done and caught up with, like that is what is happening. Like I think that's the thing as far as parenting that I'm going to be instituting, because like we have talked about it enough, and I have harped on them enough about like, okay, it's time for you to hey, make sure you do this, you guys need to be thinking about this, you need to be helping out. and like still the first thing that they do like in the morning is like, did you get your backpacks ready for school? Did you get this? Oh, no. Because they've already, the first thing that they've done is grab some food and hopped on the computer. And so like, you know, when they get home from school, if I'm like in with work and I'm not able to like remind them, hey, get your homework done, blah, blah, blah. The first thing that they'll do is they'll like drop their backpack on the floor in the middle of the entryway and then hop on the computer. And then I'm like, and then I'm coming out and I'm just like hollering at them. Right. And it's, so it's, you know, like I've explained to them. Yeah. Damn it, Bobby. What in the hell?
Yeah, exactly.
What have I have told you about propane and propane accessories, and you do not listen? Damn it, boy!
I've had the same battle as you've had, with not just like the backpack, you know, and then you know not doing homework first kind of thing, but like in the morning is the one that and she's finally to the point where I don't really have to get onto her about it anymore. But you know, she's responsible for getting herself ready in the morning. I just wake her up. It's like beyond that, it's all on you, girl, you know. And I'll remind her if she's running late to get out the door to get on the bus that, you know, by the way, you're going to miss the bus in about a minute if you don't get your butt out there. But she'll get her stuff together and get herself together and dressed. The one thing that she seems to have a lot of trouble with though is actually making and eating breakfast before she leaves. And thankfully, the school serves breakfast, and they get there early enough to eat breakfast at school without being late to class. So she usually just like, oh, I'll just eat breakfast at school. It's okay. It's like, yeah, but do you like the breakfasts at school? It's like, because she's told me about the breakfast at school, and I'm like, I wouldn't eat that. I don't know why you insist on eating it. I wouldn't eat that.
I was gonna say, like, the question isn't do you like the breakfast at school, it's do I like the breakfast at school, because like I don't want you eating that crap, because that's not gonna help you have a good performance.
Well, they have some sort of like cereal boxes that she was like, yeah, one or two of them's okay, the rest of them just kind of taste like cardboard. And I was like, then why are you eating that at school? Why don't you just eat? It's like, we have bread and cheese and meat and cereal and, you know, eggs, and it takes like 5 minutes. Just, you know, go make it.
Pour something in the bowl, follow it with some milk. Have a great
There's
day.
bananas. Have a banana.
Right.
It's a little sweet, but hey, it's better than nothing.
Mm-hmm.
My oldest, fortunately, the anxiety gets my oldest enough to be able, like, she's the one that's like setting her bedtime, because she wants to get like 10 hours of sleep. And she's the one that's setting like what she wants for breakfast. And so she's usually a lot better about that, because she wants to be able to like do really well in school. She gets really anxious about like not doing well in school. And, you know, with us, like when I had the family reunion / wedding, and then also with my wife and youngest getting COVID, they had to miss a number of school days. And like our elementary school has this like green, yellow, and red as far as number of days that you've missed. And right now, my youngest is, if she misses one more day of school at all, she's already in the yellow. And I'm like, that's kind of not fair, because it's your policy for them to miss this many days because of COVID. And what gets me infuriated is that they're not sending kids home that are sick. And so, like, if kids are sick, you're allowing them to stay at school. But if they've tested positive, they want parents to keep the kids home, but they're not forcing parents to keep the kids home. So then they're spreading COVID, because there's been there's been a significant backlash here about that whole thing. And so then my kids get sick, and now like our teachers, we can't keep our teachers in the classroom to teach, because no one's keeping their kids home when they're sick. So now the teachers are constantly getting sick, and there's not enough substitutes. And so like they don't have enough substitutes. the teachers can't maintain in the classroom because they're constantly getting sick because parents aren't keeping them. And now because we're not holding parents responsible to be, to do the right thing. And if your kid's sick, keep them home, right? Now it's like this whole like backlash.
It sounds you've got a fucked up incentive structure. I mean, we don't really have that problem here.
It's the school's fault right there.
Yeah, it sounds like it's the school's fault completely.
Yeah.
No, so it's the school. The schools are.
Our schools here have a free pass for COVID. If you test positive for COVID, you can take as many days off as you need, and it doesn't count against you. And that seems to work fine. Like our parents here are keeping their kids out of school when they get COVID, and like COVID is not really spreading here. We're not having that issue here.
Here's the issue that we're having is the businesses, and we have a number of like billionaires that live up here, and one of them recently left because we started like making some changes to our like tax policies to actually make them have to actually like finally pay taxes for once, and that particular billionaire was like, you know what, I'm moving to Florida where I don't have to pay the taxes. So he just recently left. But no, like a lot of the companies are now insisting that like they're not allowing remote work anymore. And so parents can't keep their kids home because the workplaces aren't allowing the parents to be able to stay home with their kids.
I'm genuinely confused to hear this because it feels like the opposite of what I would expect. Like I would expect here in the middle of Missouri and Trump country would be as strict as that. It would be like, no, you can't work from home. That's stupid. We're not going to fall for this whole COVID nonsense. Whereas like up there, I would expect it to be very liberal and people are still wearing masks at the grocery store and shit, like I'm really confused.
No, like again, like you, like the because we have such like, again, because we have such a large number of extremely wealthy people that live up here, and our workplaces are such large companies, and we have very few mom and pop shops anymore, that because again they've whittled away at the tax structure so that small businesses have a significant struggle. They have a great small business department, like Department of Small Businesses here. That's really helpful. Like with me starting my small business, there's a lot of stuff available, a lot of support, things like that. As far as incentives for me to be a small business, those things have been whittled away tax wise and everything. And there's certain federal things that are still in place that actually help. But like I'm talking with an accountant and we're talking about like all the different ways that we can try and, get it so that I'm not getting excessively taxed, because I'm a single party small business, but for me to start hiring people and things like that to like support me and stuff, like it's incredibly expensive. And because again, like a lot of the incentives are going to the top because the government up here has been like very, very much purchased. And because we don't have a lot of small businesses supporting the jobs of our workplaces, the small businesses that we do have are typically restaurants which have low overhead or low profit margins, right?
Right.
And so they don't have like they need certain, things that other small businesses would benefit from, right? They need or would be able to handle, right? They couldn't because again, their profit margins are so low. And so because we have such a small number of companies providing the workplaces, they have a lot more leverage and power. And so therefore, like certain things like open space work flows and that make it all kitschy and what have you are great. But like other things that, like, hey, we have a place so you can bring your dog. You want to bring your dog to work? Yeah, that's great. But you still have to be at work. Like it's like they're really coming very, very strict. And there's not a lot of like pushback against them. And so, yeah, it's
I guess it really is just down to the difference of the business structure, like you said, because we do have a lot of small businesses out here. Because a lot of the big companies don't want to invest in St. Louis because it's kind of a shrinking city, not a growing city.
right.
So like we have a lot of small businesses, and the small businesses are great. Like if you need to work from home for whatever reason, they'll let you. Like
Right.
they're not gonna be Nazis about it. So maybe that's why. I don't know.
No, that's why.
Right.
That's why I keep on stressing like we need to set up our structures so that we stop having again like these monopolies, because they get so much power that they can start controlling so many different factors. Whereas like as a politician, it's easier if you get a Walmart to come in, or a Microsoft, or a large company to come in, like everybody's fighting over Amazon, because that's 1,000 jobs, right? One business is going to provide 1,000 jobs, and you get to say, I brought 1,000 jobs to our area, and it takes very little, like it's not as much effort, right? There's competing, but there's not as much effort. It's a lot harder work to have 100 companies, 100 small businesses creating 10 jobs than to have one business come in and bring you 1,000 jobs. It's a lot easier to just do that lump sum, right? Because also you give them a massive tax incentives, all these different things, and it's not a cost to you; it's a cost to your citizens, because they're the ones that are having to pick up the taxes. The small businesses are the ones that are having to pick up the taxes, like all those property taxes, all that different stuff, like. And all it just means is that you're cutting, again, because property taxes are a big driver of school funding and things like that. So then you just like cut school, costs and school funding and all that different stuff, because you're making these tax cuts for these companies to come in.
Yeah. It is so much harder too when that company decides to bail on that city.
Right.
Because now all those people are now unemployed, when all those people could have been distributed amongst a bunch of small businesses.
So that like
Whereas,
if one of those small businesses went down, like they could find another job easily. Whereas if the big whole giant company falls, everybody loses their job at once, you have an unemployment crisis. Right.
Exactly.
It's like
exactly.
what happened with Detroit, with the auto industry closing factories there and whatnot. You got a lot of big employers all bailing out at the same time.
I used to live in Bethlehem, and we knew all about that when Bethlehem Steel collapsed.
Yeah. So again, like that's where that's where that Teddy Roosevelt, like, breaking up the
trust busting.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And going in and attacking the monopolies and all that
square
stuff.
deal.
Yeah. Like that's, I'm not a fan of Truman as a president, but as a senator, when he was going after war profiteers, like, I love that concept, right? Mm-hmm. And going after companies about, like, when we talk about, like, $50 for a hammer, like, and he's going after them, like, why the hell are we spending this much money for this, right?
Well,
and
actually, these days, $50 for a hammer is not unreasonable. But
Touche. It's a.
Well, I mean, they got those new ones with the anti-vibe handles and stuff.
Right,
yeah, they're just
500 for it. Okay.
Those fancy carbon fiber grips and stuff.
It's made from the same stuff that the space shuttle's made from.
Yep.
The ones that blew up. Yep, this thing will blow up in your hand, and it's amazing.
Just make sure you check your O-rings regularly.
It'll only blow up on re-entry. Don't worry about it.
Right. There you go.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it'll drive the nail in just fine, but when you pull it back up, it's gonna fall off.
It might explode.
It might just explode.
Yeah.
You lose your hand. You get to use it once, and then you got to buy a new one.
We call this one the
Krista
McAuliffe.
No, like when I talk about like healthcare and some type, whatever we want to choose, some type of universal healthcare, like, would benefit small businesses, because me like hiring patients or not hiring employees.
Patience. I'm
I know,
pretty
yeah,
sure
I know,
that's
I know.
conflict of interest.
No, but like me
I'll
hiring
Barter.
you to come
It's
to
a
my-
it's
to
a
my
barter
practice.
system, Merrick.
I
It's a
know,
barter
right?
system.
Yeah. But
Very
me hiring-
laissez-faire of you, yeah.
Yeah, right. Me hiring employees is one thing, right? And I want to be able to pay them really well, but then I also have to afford being able to pay for their health insurance, and I want them to have a good health insurance, but that costs a crazy amount of money because as a small business, I don't have the leverage ability, right?
Mm-mm.
Whereas if the
Yeah, you don't have nearly the amount of fungible cash that a bigger company
Also,
does.
if you have
Right.
if you have less than 10 employees, trying to get a good deal on a health insurance package
Oh, yeah.
for your, and for that matter, if it's less than 100, it's really hard.
There's
to
no
get.
such thing as a good deal when it comes to health insurance. It's just like
No.
the one that
Well,
makes
it's
you
a-
bleed the least.
Yeah, it's a better deal than exactly. Better deal
But-
than you could get if you were just like 3 or 4 individuals in a company.
right,
Yeah.
and my bargaining power would be much less, right?
Significantly better, yeah.
Right. And so if we were collectively as a
Borg.
if
We'll
we were
all
as a
become one.
You can go to the insurance company and be like, resistance is
you-
futile. Yeah.
You wouldn't really need it. You got the nanites, so you're all good.
Yeah,
Sure, yeah.
but no, like if we kind of went Borg style, this is what we're gonna do, and resistance is futile because if you want to do it in this country, then this is what you have to do.
That's what we need to do. We need to develop the nanites and then let the AI take over, and then we
Right.
they can take care of us. We don't even have to worry about it anymore. So,
I so badly want to go in a pod. Just let me live in a pod.
we'll all go in a pod with the AI and the nanites, and we'll all just exist virtually across the net and interact with each other in the metaverse. And then it's all
Hang out
Which-
with that girl in the red dress.
Which one of the
Yeah,
two on the
exactly.
left is going to be Locutus?
I could never be a leader of men. No.
I was just wondering, with the lack of hair. I was just who's going to be Locutus?
Neither one of us can pull off the Picard look. It's just not possible.
No.
You know what? I don't mind the jelly. I don't mind the.
I'll be the James T. Kirk of
I have no problem
or the
with the
Riker.
Keanu.
I
Reeves.
also say I would think Riker over James T. Kirk.
Yeah.
I could just see you doing the getting into the chair, raising the leg, going over.
There is one uncomfortable thing about the whole Locutus thing that nobody brings up, is that in the original introduction of the Borg, it is specifically stated that they are asexual, that like part of the Borgification process is essentially castration. So Picard has been castrated.
Yeah, they sewed it back on. They sewed it back on.
They regenerated it.
They
They just ran him through
They
the
put him through the
train.
transformer buffer. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because that's what I was thinking about the transporter the other day. It's like when somebody gets injured and they gets transported, shouldn't they be fine when they get back?
It's a good point.
Run them through the button. We'll just put it back together properly in the transporter. We'll just
Your arm
rearrange the
came off. Okay,
molecules.
just like grab it, hold on to it. We'll go through
Yeah.
the transporter and it'll be reattached.
Yeah.
You would
And then
think.
you
Well,
become
if
the
nothing
Borg.
else, no, like you don't even need to bring it back. Like the transporter, like I think it's Rick and Morty had a wonderful episode about this where every time you teleport, what's actually happening
Yes.
is you're dying.
Yes.
You're
Well,
being
that's the
killed.
real actual science behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
Even
Yeah.
by the way
right.
they explain it in Star Trek, you are literally ceasing to be. That's why
Right.
McCoy never wanted to be transported.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
they're just building
Clones.
a new one of you on the
Yeah.
other side
On the other side, it's just a
with all
brand
the
new
same memories and
entity.
everything.
Yeah.
So
And
theoretically, they should be able to transport you and just put you together per the previous blueprint
right,
using what's in your current head.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
That's how we ended up with 2 Rikers. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so
Yep.
shouldn't
Yep.
that
Exactly.
also eliminate death as well?
You would think.
Yeah. They also cured that in that one Star Trek movie where Khan's blood magically made everybody okay.
That's right.
Cured
Yeah.
Kirk of death.
They dealt with that with was it the Nexus? And
Oh yeah, the
so-
Nexus. Well, everything after that is happening in the Nexus.
That's true. Yeah. yeah.
Like Picard never actually left the Nexus. He's still
He's
living.
still in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So all the seasons of Picard, all of the
Yeah, all
I was about
that's
to say,
is happening in the
all
Nexus.
inside the
Yep.
Nexus. Yeah.
And
The
even the
Nexus
Star
is-
Trek reboot is from the Nexus because it's an offshoot of stuff that happened in a
Post-Nexus.
canon Star Trek comic from Picard's point of view.
Man, my world is fucked right now, and so
It's okay. If you really want to go down the rabbit hole of Star Trek continuity, you're in for a ride.
Yeah. There's a pod I actually stumbled upon. I forget what the hell it's called now, but it's just people who have never really gotten into Star Trek actually sitting down and watching like the Next Generation.
Well, that's fun.
It's called
It's not season 1.
Newbie Star Trek.
Just start them on season 2. Season 1.
Well, one of the guys started like on episode 8. He like screwed up when he launched Netflix or something. Like his wife had watched some or something like that. So he started off on like episode 8, and he's like, "What the fuck's going on? Who are these people?"
I don't know. You still have to see some parts of season 1. I mean, you have to see Data and
Yeah.
Yar have sex. You have to.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have to see the one with the conspiracy bugs. That's a
Yeah.
good one.
Yeah, I mean there are some good episodes, and I'm just saying like those first couple of episodes, and some of them.
Oh,
season
it's
1 are just like-
embarrassing. Like season
like,
1 is
holy
really
crap.
hard to watch.
yeah,
But season 2 also has a few episodes that are not easy to watch. Like
every
Pulaski-
season
You know what?
has a few
Cringy.
episodes that are not easy to watch.
Good
Let's be
point.
real. But, yeah.
Eric,
All of Enterprise.
No,
Yeah.
hey, I like Enterprise.
I do too, but
I like
some people
Enterprise.
hate it. I liked it.
Enterprise.
Eric.
I thought it was good. I thought they're all good in some way, shape, or form. You just gotta
Continue,
take them
Scott.
for what they are. You know,
Yeah.
even the
So-
original series, which is corny as hell, is also really good. You know, so
Damn it, Jim.
yeah, exactly. Doctor, not a
Eric-
Mason.
You just made me think of what my actual like New Year's resolution is.
Oh.
Is
Binge
to-
watch the entire,
All of Star Trek. I don't think you can do that in the amount of time you have.
and then write a book.
Yeah, no. It's don't be afraid to put out things that I would be embarrassed about. In the sense
Unapologetic,
that,
baby.
that's right.
Just
No.
just listen to their albums that came out. Come on.
Yeah, no, right. In the sense that one of the things that makes it hard for me to like start my channel is the allowing perfection to get in the way of the good,
Mhm.
right? And just being like, okay, this isn't good enough, or I want to do this. I need to figure out how to do this. I need to, one of the things, there was somebody that I saw like on Instagram did this like speech about like she learned how to do what she was doing by just doing it.
Mhm.
And then with all of those like that time and mistakes and all that different stuff, now like decades later she's an expert in her field, and it's because it was in robotics, right? And like and doing like battle bots. I don't know if she was ever on battle bots or not, but like battle bots kind of things, along with like her like other like veers of profession. But like she was like I taught my like I didn't she was like I was homeless, and when I started out, like I was homeless, I had nothing. I think she even said like she might have been like a single mom, and like she was like like going to school for this, there was no way for me to be able to afford to learn to be a robotics person, right? I just had an interest for it and I wanted to do it, and instead of allowing the I'm gonna suck at this stop me, like being okay with making those mistakes, being okay at making stuff that's a little bit cringeworthy, but building off of everything, right? And so and that's how you build your your
Everybody
support.
starts out as a white belt. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah,
And
it's-
so I think that's my biggest thing.
It's
Yeah, that
hard.
was-
I'm not
yeah.
going to diminish you at all. That's a very hard
yeah.
part of like the creative process is
Yeah.
learning that it's okay in the beginning to be terrible, and you're gonna be terrible. You just got to push through and learn.
Yeah. That was the whole thing with my doing my like daily posts on Instagram. Is just I didn't care if it was good. It was like, this is what I did. Render, post and be like, okay, I did it, and learning how to be quicker, how to tweak certain things, and to make it a faster process is like kind of like another YouTuber I stumbled upon. He's called the Anti Chef. I think he started like 6 years ago. He had no cooking skills whatsoever. I think the best he could do was like boil blue box macaroni, but he wanted to try new things. He wanted to challenge himself. So, I mean, he started, getting Julia Child's cookbooks and whatnot, and he didn't have the right equipment, and he's making do with what he had and just putting it together, and a lot of them were just complete absolute failures,
Yeah, I mean,
but he pushed through. He's still doing it to this day, from 6 years ago.
that's awesome.
And it's just throw shit at the wall until you see a picture, I guess. I don't know.
The hardest part is like selling yourself afterwards and being like, this stuff, this like total shit that I made, you'll love it.
Yeah. And along the way, at some point, you will learn to love it yourself.
Yeah, one day you'll actually look at it and not see shit. Be like, wait a minute, maybe that's not shit after all.
When you said Nazi shit,
I'll let you know when that
Nazi
happens. I don't know.
exactly. Like I was
Nazi
like, wait,
shit.
when did you do Nazi shit?
Yeah.
That's when it's very gassy.
Oh,
Lots of tears.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Some
I
people
sure
Bur-
did
burns
leave
a
a
little.
fingernail on the wall on that one.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was really.
No, that was really dark, really fast. That was awesome. I loved it. I'm not sorry.
That's true. You never apologize. So. No, yeah, no, and so I think that's going to be my New Year's resolution this year, is that that I am going to just
Make
do
your
it.
shit.
Yeah,
Do it.
put it out, and And one of the things that I really liked was like you going back at times and revisiting some of the ones, because like where you did it and then kind of updated things, or like remastered it. Yeah. And I love that idea, because it's like, hey, I've learned some things along the way and I just want to make this one a little bit better. And it's like, like, especially like I use you a lot as an inspiration for myself in this sphere, because again, you've been doing this.
That's okay. I use you physically, so.
Yeah. That's what I'm here for, baby. That's what I'm here for. And there ain't nothing wrong with a
little bump and grind.
Yeah. So no, like I like that idea, and with what I like envision and want versus what will be, and then that's all right. Because for me, I'm gonna be doing like gaming stuff or whatever, and if I'm like the one that I'm working on right now is a FIFA game, and I'm like, you know what? Next year there's gonna be a new FIFA game, and if I have an issue with like doing this season, that's all right. I'll have 2024's version to just redo something new or whatever in a different way, and just so that's one of the whatever I don't like, I'll just make it better with the next one or whatever. And so
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
You just have to
So,
start.
Yeah.
Swallow your pride and do it.
Exactly. So.
And
Yeah,
it is
it's been-
hard. It's very
yeah.
hard. I'm not gonna lie to you.
it is nice having my wife like do like she and I have been playing Baldur's Gate 3, and so like we've been recording that and just like discussing like creating like these characters and then having them do decisions based on what we've established their character trope is, their character type is, and like and their psychology. And
Like
then,
actual role playing in your role playing game? What is that?
no, well, we're not role playing, you know. Well,
That's different. I'm not talking about your personal life.
no, that's okay. Like, so we're not acting it out per se, but like we're like, okay, let's.
No,
this
but you're
choice
like
is-
creating
yeah.
characters and like trying
Yeah.
to stay true to the characters. That's
Right. We're gonna
role-playing
make this
in my opinion.
choice. Yeah. So this is, you know, yes, we're role playing, not LARPing. That's
There you go.
There you go. And yeah, and so that's kind of like, you know, fun and being like kind of, and it's cool to have her do it with me and stuff. And so
If
I like
you
to do
ever
things with
if
my
you
wife.
ever get her to LARP, you have to video record that.
I have a friend of mine who met his
I like
wife,
being married. I like being married. So
Once she gets around those other LARPing dudes, you know, she's gonna leave you. So it's probably wise.
Yeah.
no, she would love to dress up and all that stuff. Like she doesn't have a problem with that. I'm talking about recording it. No, I like
Oh.
that's what that
I don't want to see anything that you're doing with your wife on
Yeah,
tape,
no,
okay?
no,
Yeah, don't do that.
No.
no, nobody does. Nobody does.
I have more than enough incriminating evidence on you already. I don't need anything.
Right. And hey y'all, like remember, like when it comes to like recording and stuff like that, once it makes its way to the internet, it's never leaves. So
Somebody
says
gets
streaming.
it. Somebody downloads it. It's up out there forever. Yeah.
Just get a little handheld like Eric used to have. You know?
And just, you know, the red light means it's recording. So if there's no red light, it's not recording. And that's
Yeah.
a fact. You can take it to the bank.
right.
There's no way of
Okay.
turning that off.
No, that's
Yeah,
not
no way at all,
Can't
no.
do that.
Anybody else have anything that they want to discuss regarding like things that they want to do better? Is there anyone that we didn't get to?
Just
Only-
not procrastinating
my-
so damn much.
Yeah, my only thing like for tomorrow is like trying to finish some project that I'm working on now, and just resetting goals that I had last year, and just seeing if I can meet or improve those goals. You know, like number of books read and things of that nature. You know, try and plan out stuff I want to read, whatnot. Liam's already working on Algebra 2 textbook, which was one of his Christmas presents.
Oh, nice.
It's an Algebra 2 textbook workbook. He's doing that for fun.
Oh, good for him.
So.
My son's already on calculus. Catch up.
Yeah. Well, he's doing the geometry in school. I figured, I
Yeah.
would get that for him to work on during the summer, but he's already working on it now in his free time, which he has quite a bit of it now. I don't know. See where it goes. He loves math not as much as your little man, but not so little man anymore, I guess.
Yeah, a little. He's been taller than my wife for about 2 years now, so but that's
Yeah,
not saying
yeah.
that much.
But yeah, it's just kind of a reset. That's all I look at it. I'm not looking at it as like,
Now, you're a day-to-day kind of guy. You try to like treat every day the same, and I
Yeah.
there's something noble about that.
yeah.
Do we have any goals for the stream, or like now that we've moved it from a podcast to a stream, any kind of goals or things that we have?
We need
Like
to
that
make
we'd
it
like to
more
do.
loving, more of a love stream.
More love.
More love.
Hey, I refuse to
Autocorrect
allow the computer to like, Google tell me what to do with my life and
Nice one.
Okay, touche. the computer, Google has mentioned has spoken, and so
Scott, stop touching yourself, Scott.
It's only when he watches Kevin Costner.
that's right.
Exactly.
The postman doesn't knock, but I knock twice. Sorry, that good blend there.
Delivering that package for you.
That's right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, chicka wow wow.
So one of the things that I really want to ask is, how did, like, Damien and Joe, how do you feel about Florida voting for your primary pick on your behalf instead of you guys?
I mean, I'm not happy about that. Of course, this is Florida we're talking about, so I mean, what kind of choices do I have anyway?
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
So to kind of explain this,
mhm.
that there's a Democratic primary that almost nobody knows about.
yeah, because there's
'Cause there's
almost
been
no
a-
Democrats left.
Well, no, because there's been like a media blackout. So RFK Jr. used to be part of the primary, but because of the fact that he saw the blackout and everything, he's now running as an independent. Cornel West was going to run as a Democrat, but because what he saw with what happened with Bernie Sanders, and the experience with that, he understood like that they were going to, like, there was no way they were going to permit it to happen. And so he ran, initially as the People's Party, but now as the Green Party candidate. Marianne Williamson has run as a Democratic candidate, like previously, and then she's doing it now, and she's been doing this running for about a year. But again, most people aren't even aware that she's running. Bill, he's a representative.
All right, somebody's setting off fireworks already.
Dean Phillips. So he's running in the Democratic Party as a candidate for president in the Democratic primary. And then Cenk Uygur joined in because basically he wants Biden to step out of the race, because he's hoping that he doesn't care. He's not looking for a progressive to step in. Marianne Williamson's already there. He just wants anyone else to step in because Biden's losing drastically to Trump. He's losing young people to Trump. He's losing Black people to Trump. He's losing Arabic people to Trump. And so, like, those, like, especially in Michigan, we can't win Michigan without, like, the Arabic population there. And, like, we can't win if we don't have young people. And Biden doesn't have young people. Actually, like, Trump has taken the lead with young people over Biden, which is insane. It's like, it's insane.
The fact that there's even one person in the country who prefers Trump to anybody else,
Yeah.
is a travesty. Like, what the fuck is going on with our country?
Yes.
Right.
This is the thing that just drives me. It just blows my.
It
friggin'
blows my
mind.
mind too. I can't understand
I
it.
would-
I genuinely can't understand it.
I would vote for a dead monkey, not even a retarded, just a dead one, a corpse of a monkey.
Vote for a cockroach.
Yeah, seriously.
Well,
Yeah.
and it's not. I don't think it's like he's
Palmetto bug. Sorry,
I-
Yeah,
I'm-
there you
Florida.
I'm not saying like
Yeah, Florida
that
mouse.
Yeah.
like all of these people have swung to Trump. It's just that they're not.
Oh no, I
like,
get it. It's just
they're
that
not
they're
looking
not
to
gonna
vote.
for. They're not going to vote for Biden, but they're not
No,
necessarily
they're
going to
just-
vote for him either.
But their numbers, the numbers for Trump are somehow going up. I don't understand why, but they are.
Yeah.
I
Among
think
pretty much
people are
every
just like
demographic.
trolling the polls.
I want to
be.
hope that.
That's
I really
that.
wanna
I'm
believe
really
it.
hoping that's what it is.
But
It's
that's
just
what I
like
thought
No.
in 2016, and that
Nope.
did not pan out that way.
Nope. It is.
Um,
It's not that. No. It's that.
People just want to knock the
No.
table over and light it on fire. That's
no.
where we're at.
Like
they already did that.
I know, but
2016.
they want to do it again because they don't
No.
feel like they did enough damage.
because people again with Biden in power. Okay, first off, like everyone's afraid he's going to die, right?
Okay, I'd rather have that than Trump.
Exactly.
Right.
100%.
I don't disagree with you. I don't.
Because Kamala Harris would be absolutely awful, but she would be better than Trump.
yeah,
Yes,
any day of the
less
week. Yeah.
less fucking damage to the country. Yes.
Yeah. She would just
Agreed.
tote the line
But-
until she got voted out, and that's fine, you know.
But-
Yeah.
So I don't disagree with you, and I have like especially with the way that Trump's been talking about what he's going to do day one, and how he has talked about like going after his political enemies and like, and I appreciate Mike Pence in the 11th hour like finally standing up and saying like, no, I'm not going to like follow suit in overthrowing our like.
I think his wife was changing out a
American-
purse and she handed him his balls for a second.
Yeah, really.
It's like
Hold these
like-
for a second.
For a second, he had principle, and it was
Yeah.
it was the time it was most needed. So
Needed. Yeah,
I will
absolutely,
always
right?
appreciate him for that.
Yeah.
She took him out of the
and
jar to
absolutely.
change the water and said,
Yeah.
"Hey, just hold these."
Yeah.
in that moment he was able to, yeah, but no, like but he did like he earnestly like there was like an earnest, you know, and again also like Trump had said that he was gonna, oh, I can't remember what it was, but like all of his cabinet was like, if you do this, we will all walk on you. We will absolutely, like, we will leave. Like, this is, we cannot do that. Like, he was earnestly talking about wanting to like do a coup, and like his cabinet was like, we will leave on you. Like, and so that's the only thing that stopped him from like, but he is like, what he's talking about now is earnest, whether or not like anyone will be there to stop it, but what he is talking about now is earnest, like dictatorial, like
What if
crap,
he
and
got
that's
into
terrifying.
office and then pardoned all of the Proud Boys and whatnot that got thrown in jail, and then
Well, that's what
put
he's
them on
gonna
his
do.
cabinet?
Oh, yeah, that's gonna
what I'm.
absolutely
Yeah,
Oh, put him on the cabinet. That would
yeah,
be-
and they pardoned him and put him on his fucking cabinet. And then he's got like true diehard loyalists, you know.
No, that's all he
yeah.
wants is sycophants.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He'll no, I truly fear that he will bring back the brown shirt.
Bring balance to the force. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, we saw how that went last time.
No,
You were the chosen one.
No, I
Fuck. But there is no redemption story with this motherfucker.
yeah, no, I think what he'll do is he'll pardon them, and then like they will become his brown shirts, like his
his private security force or something.
exactly, right, something to
Yeah.
that effect. But no, like he'll get Stephen Miller like on his cabinet. He will get like Steve Bannon's gonna come back. Like Bannon, like flat out like oh, what's the French book that's like full on Nazi propaganda, where it talks about like the Arabics and that we need to like wipe them out or whatever. It's the book that he uses, he comments on about a lot, and it's like full on like Nazi propaganda. Anyways, I can't remember the name of the book.
Well, like
But
doomsday predictions about Trump's aspirations as president aside, like I genuinely believe that the only reason people still support him is because they've convinced themselves that anything bad or weird that they hear about him is coming from a flawed media environment that's just lying to them. Like they don't actually.
They think it's all made
They
up.
think it's all fake news.
Yeah.
They think it's all like
Absolutely.
the deep state working against him, and in conjunction with the liberal media, shit like that. And that's the only way I can paint it that makes sense, because otherwise it means that there is a significant portion of this country that is rabidly anti-American, fascist, crazy people. And I can't believe that about my fellow men. I just can't.
It's
if you look at their
partly-
interviews, they have said we.
No, I'm
want
not
him
talking
as-
about the actual like people who
Oh,
are
the
in charge. I'm talking about like
No.
like my neighbors, you know?
No, no, no,
Voters,
no.
your
They're
voters,
not.
yeah.
They have gone to rallies and they have talked to him and they have said like, do you like? He has said some things that are concerningly, dictatorial, and they're like, I want Trump as my dictator. Like, and
It's
or
because
if
they're
we
all
have
watching
to, if
Fox
or
News and OAN.
if we
and,
have to have a dictator, I want you to be him.
yeah,
Right.
They're-
Because they believe that Obama or Biden is a dictator.
yeah.
Right.
They've been brainwashed by the propaganda machine that is right wing media. I hate to say it, but to believe that the that the current government is currently acting as dictators and acting as socialist commie red blah 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 and whatever, and it's like that's not the truth though. Just look at the world. Look at the the way the country's being governed. That's not the way that works.
And Biden has had his power checked multiple
several
times.
times.
And I do think if Trump gets into power, his power will also be checked. I do still believe in the American system to do its job. I don't think he actually can become a dictator. But the fact that he wants to and so many
It's
people
scary.
want him to
Yeah.
is scary as fuck.
Well,
And it's brainwashing.
and
It's
there's
just-
a concern that because like will my hope or my where I see like the biggest light at the end of the tunnel isn't that the Supreme Court will put actual checks on him or that the Congress, but that the financial interests, like the oligarchy, unfortunately, will see the direction that Trump wants to take this country in, and that their funding of the Supreme Court justices and their funding of our politicians will give our politicians the courage to like stand up against him. Not that they will have the courage, but their financial incentives like will take a hit. Because I think that if Trump
That's a
were to,
far more cynical way to have hope. I don't subscribe to that at all.
that's fine. But no, like I earn it because if he were to get into power and to start taking those steps, what would eventually happen is other countries will start to stop backing the dollar and using the dollar, and they will turn to another, which will cause us to have will risk us to have an economic collapse. And because so many companies are invested into our economy and our economic systems, it would bankrupt them or put them in severe damage. And also because again, so much of the wealthy are in stocks, it would crater our stock market. And because of that risk, they would then put pressure on our politicians and the Supreme Court. Because again, like
I'm not disagreeing that the financial incentive won't be there. I do think that the financial incentive will definitely be there. But I also still believe that there are people of principle within the power to have those checks and balances. Like, I don't think the Supreme Court is hopelessly corrupt. I do think they actually believe shit that they say. I don't think that every congressman and every senator is just bought and paid for and has no opinions of their own. I don't subscribe to that worldview. I just don't. I do believe that there are people who still do what they think is right. And I think that in a situation where Trump becomes president and tries to be a dictator, those people are gonna appear. They're gonna speak up. Maybe they'll be like Mike Pence, people we would ordinarily disagree with to the hilt, but will have a moment of conscience and will have to do what they know is right, regardless of the consequences. And I do have hope in America to do that. I think that's the way our system is set up.
I hope so.
I agree with you on that, Eric. But the question is whether or not they are enough.
That is a good question.
Yeah.
I agree.
No,
Yes.
and because again, you look at like what's his name, Jeremy Rassesberger, not Rassesberger. What's his name from Michigan that is no longer in office, and Cheney's daughter, Liz Cheney, right? Like they have been pushed out, like they're out of office because they spoke up, right? And a number, Ben Sass.
Some of that
is
had
now-
to do with their not being voted back in, So
Well, no,
Right,
but I mean, they
because
were also demagogued for basically having a conscience. Yeah.
Right. For
Yeah,
saying
even what's his crap? Who was it that
Like-
came out recently and said that he agreed? Oh, it was an interview recently where somebody who you wouldn't think finally came out now that he's not going to be in office anymore, or is not in office anymore. Backed Liz Cheney and said what they did was the right thing to do, even though it destroyed their career. I can't remember who it was.
You talking what's his name from Utah?
I think he's from Utah. I can't remember her fucking name.
He ran for president. That guy.
Romney? You're talking
Romney.
about Romney? He's never
Was
been.
it, no, it wasn't Romney. No, it wasn't
he was
Romney.
He was never a Trumper.
No.
But I mean, he still backed Cheney though. But anyway,
Yeah,
But no, he did
like,
back
but-
Cheney. That's true.
yeah.
But like Ben Sass like spoke out against it, and now he's the president of University of Florida. Like, like and again, not because he's great.
Watch
on,
word you say. I like Ben Sass.
not because he's great on education or an educational like no. Like he has that position not because he's an expert scholar, but because of his political connections.
Well, yeah, there's that. Of course.
Right.
I mean, everything's about
That's what I was going to say. Like he's got that job not because he's a great leader of educational force, but because because of his connections to government, right? And again, like that's what I'm talking about, the corruption part, right? Is that he's getting a position as the head of a university, not because he knows how to run a university, not because he knows what education needs to be, but because of the sweetheart deals that he can get that university because of his connections, because of the corruption aspect. And yes,
That's
Joe,
true of all of our
It was
universities and everybody.
Paul.
That's
It
what
was
I'm talking. But
it was Paul Ryan. It was an interview on Paul Ryan.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm not
Oh,
surprised
yeah,
Paul
yeah.
Ryan would say bad shit about Trump and
Yeah,
back
yeah.
Liz Cheney. That makes sense.
and,
to me.
Yeah.
and Joe, yes, it's the Camp of the Saints. That's the book. That is an
Okay.
like an overtly like Nazi-esque book and white
Yeah,
supremacist book that
A dystopian novel.
that
Yeah.
that he constantly brings up
Did-
in his speeches.
Speaking of dystopian, since you brought it back to the book, did any of y'all ever read We? I can't remember if I asked y'all.
You've asked, and
you
I still
asked.
haven't read it.
No,
I
no,
haven't.
no,
Okay.
I haven't read it. So, but
Yeah,
this is what I wanted to bring up about that vote. This is what I wanted to bring up because a lot of people that are on the MAGA side and also like might be like on the fence, right? A lot of people are concerned about the election of 2020 and that it was rigged, right? What gives incentive to that or support to that is what the Democrats did to Sanders in 16, what the Democrats did to Sanders in 2020. And now you have the Democratic Party electing the Democratic primary representative or the winner.
Oh no,
of
it
the
looks
Democratic.
bad. Yeah.
And let's not forget that like the Democrats themselves were questioning pretty much every election from 2000 on. Until 2020, when all of a sudden they decided not to do that because Trump was doing it, because Trump was just doing what they did, only louder and shriller and more insanely.
Wait,
You know.
did they challenge the Bush?
Mhm.
The first
I know Bush Gore, like
Yeah.
that was challenged because that needed to have an audit.
Bush
and
Kerry, there was a lot of post-election. There was a lot of people who questioned it, basically not because of the election itself, but because of the whole Swift boat thing. And there was a lot of talk about him being being selected, not elected, not just from the Supreme Court, but also because the whole cultural complex and right-wing media machine made it happen, even though it shouldn't have happened. And if people had been given a chance to vote fairly and not been given so much misinformation, shit like that. That was definitely all over the place in 2005.
Okay. And there was also because again of what the media did to Howard Dean, right?
Yeah.
With his right, and again,
I did not intend to do that, but yeah.
right, like that came out, and also
No, and
the National
honestly,
Enquirer
I do
came out.
feel
against
like
it. Yeah, so
our entire primary system has been corrupted for a long time now. Even going back to 2000 and what George W. Bush did to John McCain, unforgivable in my eyes. The primary system has been so broken and so rigged and they've even kept out third parties ever since Perot,
Yeah.
because they want to have their own duopolistic control over it.
Right.
And I feel like people have seen that, and people are seeing it year after year, and they're just getting fucking sick of it. And I think that the faith in our institutions have been on a downward trajectory ever since Nixon. And I think it's reaching critical mass now. And that's why we wind up with shit like Trump v. Biden Part 2. You know?
Which 70% of Americans do not want.
And yet they're still voting for him in the primaries.
Yeah.
Right. No, I know. Right?
The Democrat side, I do think, is actually rigged in Biden's favor. The Republican side is just our voters are fucking insane. Republican primary voters have lost their fucking minds.
Yeah. No, so, but again, that's just like, again, what we're seeing is with the Democrats, the Republicans, to some extent, this is a little bit of an exaggeration.
I think the corruption problem is a lot more on the Democrat side, where we're talking about primaries.
No, but I'm like, in the primaries, what we're seeing is the Democrats are just are working to catch up to where the Republicans have been, because there has been this, like, Republicans, there had been a longstanding, and again, it's always been present, but I think it became much more rooted in, like, this is the next up, right? And there was a lot of, I think, McCain Obama didn't do as well, because McCain was owed 2000, but then Bush and what was his campaign, the really creepy looking dude, his campaign manager, the one that did the whole like
not enough of a walk to tell you who he was.
Yeah, McCain. God, he's the one that like did all the dirty tricks of, like, McCain has an illegitimate, like, black baby,
right, shit like that.
Yeah, and did those robocalls like that and stuff like that. That tainted, like, all those I cannot. He used to be on Fox News all the time, still on there every once in a while. But anyways, like, he kind of messed up the boat. He rocked the boat. He came in when, like, Dole was the next in line, and then McCain was, going to be the next in line. But then Bush and his primary or his campaign manager messed things up by doing all the dirty tricks that they did. And then McCain comes in, and by that time, nobody really wanted McCain, and they were starting to get tired. And then that's when Hope and Change came along. And then again, all of this hope and change that keeps on getting, like, pushed out there and not coming to fruition is really, like, leading to dissatisfaction with our politics, right?
No, I think the vast majority of Americans are just disillusioned, and
like, you keep promising this, and then we never get it.
Right. Well, like, and again, that's starting back with Reagan and the brand new America, or this, the new America that he was supposed to be.
It's Morning in America.
Morning in America. That's right. It's Morning in America. Yeah, and it's this bank. And again, like,
what's that movie about Clinton where it was like some campaigner for Clinton? I mean, it was a fictional Clinton. It wasn't like actual Clinton.
Yeah, because John Travolta was Clinton.
Yeah, John Travolta played Clinton. And, like, it was about how he came in with all these high hopes and ideals about how Clinton was going to change everything. And then he winds up completely disillusioned by the end, realizing what a farce it was. That's it. It's a good movie.
Yeah. No, it's a really good movie.
And very indicative of what you're talking about. And I feel like Obama was himself upsetting the apple cart, because Hillary was supposed to be next.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But even then, even with that, he could not overcome the machine,
Right.
I have a lot of issues with Obama, and I don't agree with him on a lot of policy issues, but I do think that he was an idealist, and he still is an idealist. But he couldn't break through the broken, corrupt machine that we have built.
Yeah. And again, like, it's I'm not going into a like, so one of the things that especially the left right now is really upset about is that one of our candidates, one of our senators, who, when you look at their, like, when they were running and also their history, who constantly said that they were progressive, and then as soon as a group started to say that they were going to back his challenger, Lamb, all of a sudden said, I've never been a progressive. I'm not a progressive. I've never been a progressive. Right. And it's like, no, when you were the lieutenant governor, when you were a mayor, like, and even when you ran as a senator, you amped, and you can go on X, Twitter, and look at all the times where this person, the senator, says, I am a progressive. I am a progressive. I am a progressive. And now it's like, nope, I'm not a progressive.
No,
but
principles are 100% on sale. I mean, same thing happens
Right.
on the right with Trump,
Yeah.
like threatening to
It's just a
fund
word.
opposition.
Yeah. Well, and Thomas Massey, I'll give him at least credit, like that he was attacked by the same group, and he's like, no, this has nothing, like, and again, it's this like this random claim of being of using identity politics kind of, construct to attack, right? And he's like, no, I just don't agree with, like, us funding, using American dollars to fund any other government, right? And like that same group, and he at least had the strength of will to, like, stand by his values. Like, so I'm like, I don't agree with Thomas Massey, like, politically, but anyone that's willing to actually stand by their values, regardless of the face of in the storm, because that's what your values are supposed to be. They're the tempest in the storm. They're what you hold on to whenever things get difficult, right? And the character of a person is shown when times are difficult. And times are difficult, and in politics, times get difficult really quick. And you learn really fast what their true character is. And that's, I think, what's, starting to be exposed, is that we have a system set up where, unfortunately, people of value get ground out.
Yeah, they get punished.
Like, right.
Mm-hmm.
The people
and it's not
that,
just by
like,
the
have
system, but it's
virtue.
also by the voters themselves.
By
They
the
agree to it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
Integrity is no longer rewarded.
It's
Right.
no longer really valued by the
Yeah.
average voter, which is
Yeah.
an indictment of us.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Like, we don't teach character, right? Because like you look at reality TV, having being a person of strong moral character, and again, or like, not moral, of
I remember people in the 90s, Republicans, being laughed at for saying that character matters. So, just saying.
Yeah. We have a definite lack of character and integrity.
I agree with you.
And,
I agree with you.
yeah.
But what I have issue with, that's like saying, like, Bill Clinton saying character matters, right? Like, don't be a hypocrite, right? Like George Santos saying character matters. Like,
If that is his real name.
right. I mean,
Exactly.
like his roommate is like, I don't even know him by that name, right?
No.
Like,
How fucking crazy do you have to be in this political climate to be kicked out? Like, really?
Yeah.
Like, how bad do you have to be? George Santos finally answered that question.
like
It's fucking nuts.
Jewish space laser who's calling everyone anti-Semites
is still there.
it's still in there.
Yeah.
Like, a woman that believes that there is a Jewish run space laser,
Space laser.
that's
Legit.
causing fires in
And if you
the
call her on
US.
it, she'll be like, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
just,
that's not anti-Semitic, but everyone else is.
And people vote for her. Let's see.
And Steve King, like, got kicked out for being, like, a white supremacist. Like, Steve King got kicked out for being a white supremacist, and now we're like, you know what? Whatever, not so bad of an idea.
So I got a question. Back to the whole, like, Trump winning or probably will be winning in the
The
primaries.
coronation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does everybody think about the 14th Amendment argument and that, Maine and Colorado and, kicking them off the ballot kind of thing?
I think it's bullshit, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that there's any legal justification for it. Do I believe he engaged in insurrection? Yes. But do I think that that was the intent of the 14th Amendment? No, I don't.
Okay.
I think at this point, denying him ballot access would only make him stronger. We need to eliminate him democratically or else he will live forever. That's the only solution. And to say that, like, if you vote for Trump, you're voting against democracy. I actually think taking him off the ballot is voting against democracy. You have to allow the democratic system work its thing. I don't think he should win, but he might because people are fucking stupid. But
well, there's two sides to that argument, and I've heard them both, and it's like I kind of agree with you, Eric, because exactly the point you made. If you take him off the ballot via constitutional means, then you create a bigger monster, and then the right gets to just stomp their feet and huff and puff and have riots about how the system's rigged and we're taking away their right to vote for who they wish to vote for.
Yeah, the system is set up to have an answer to this, and that answer was impeachment, and we didn't do it because Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah, you're just nuking Godzilla at this point,
Basically, yeah.
making him stronger.
Yeah,
Very much so.
That was for you, Eric.
I do disagree with you in that I think that the 14th Amendment does allow for the blocking of an insurrectionist from being.
It was more about Confederates than it was anything else.
Yes, it was technically, but that's not how it's written. So,
and I think he would have
just
to be
Confederate.
prosecuted for insurrection and
that's
found guilty of insurrection.
That's the other half of the razor's edge, is that he hasn't been prosecuted and convicted of.
Correct. He has to be
such
convicted
things.
first. Otherwise, it's just politics.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's where I get upset.
I think that's where they lose it right there.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
No, and that's where I get upset about Merrick Garland for dragging his feet. Again, Nancy Pelosi, Merrick Garland, all of this, because again, like they waited to the 11th hour to like actually start to do something about it. Right.
They had like 2 or 3 weeks there where Republicans would have gotten on board with an impeachment. They could have done it. They might not have gotten all of the Republicans, but they would have gotten enough to get a majority. It would have happened.
Yeah, but they
because they dragged their feet because they had
they-
to make it extra political, it didn't work.
Yes. Right. And so like
Very bad politicking by the Democrats on that right there.
no,
They calculated that Trump would just continue to damage the Republican Party, and that no one in their right mind would ever vote for him again. But here we are.
Nancy Pelosi was often like referred to as a master strategist or master politician, right? And that's total crap.
That's bullshit.
Because the reason that she was actually like referred to in this way is because she was able to raise more money than anybody else in the Democratic Party because she lived in Silicon Valley, right? And she had like Napa Valley,
All the
like,
ice cream
she
you
lived
could buy for that.
Oh,
It's just incredible.
right. She had
I'll
so
give her
much
this,
ice
she's
cream.
a-
She needed a freezer specifically
Just for the
her
ice cream.
Right.
She's
It's
a
just like-
master manipulator, and
Absolutely.
and she is very good at reading, the people that she depends on and getting them to bend to her will to, vote for what she wants. But
She's not a good
master
strategist,
politician.
but
No,
she's a great
not.
politician.
She was
She's
not
a
very good at reading what was going on the other side of the aisle and working that in her favor, and that's where she
was good
that's
at
where
using
Mitch
leverage.
McConnell leaves her in the dust as far as being a
she's
master
good at
politician.
using leverage against her own group.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
against
Yes.
her.
Right.
Own.
Yeah, that's what I-
Right.
that's what I
she
was
is
getting at,
terrible at using it against her opponents.
Exactly.
Or
yes.
or and
That's
let's be
exactly
honest.
what I was saying.
She doesn't even see them as her opponents. She sees like AOC was her opponent. Like that's who she sees as her opponent.
And that's
Or is
that was the
progressive
wrong way to
wing of
look
it.
at it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
That's how
because-
Trump views the Republican Party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, because like I hate the media, like the mainstream media's portrayal of that we're electing leaders, because we're not. In fact, that's the whole point of representatives, is that they're followers.
They're not supposed
Because
to be
they're-
leaders, right?
Exactly. They're instituting the will of the people, right? They're not leading the people.
You know where I stand. I think the president should just be an executor. It should barely even matter who the fuck he is.
Yeah. Seriously.
all right, Captain Parliament. So,
I'll take it.
right? Like I like, you know, I don't entirely disagree with you. However, you have to have somebody with enough power to be a balance to both the Supreme Court and the House of Representatives.
You do need somebody who's willing to like throw their power around in order to make sure checks and balances work. But we live in basically the executive state now, where the executive power, where the executive has all the power because Congress has ceded it to the executive, and the Supreme Court tends to defer to the executive, and that's not. Checks and balances are broken now.
Right. No, absolutely. Right.
But I'm a Jeffersonian. You know, Jefferson used to answer the door at the White House in his fucking underpants because he didn't think it mattered that he was president.
I didn't know that, but that's real.
Yeah, he's done that. He did that.
Yeah.
So if we don't ever break away from the two-party system, it's like, let's just elect two, one from each side, and we'll let them fight over the pen that signs or vetoes the bill. Right, and we'll sell tickets.
President,
right, it'll be in the middle of an arena.
Oh, God.
It's not to the death. It's not to a death, but maybe we could, and then just the next person in line steps up.
We're gonna turn the presidency into the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, or
right, yeah, no, like
divine right to pain.
If we can't beat this, we're gonna go even further the other way. Then we're just gonna lean right into it.
Just the new Coliseum,
Yeah, I just
put it right out front the White House.
And we can't even like have a team of rivals in the White House anymore. Like Obama tried and failed. You can't have disagreement in the White House anymore. Everybody has to be in lockstep, and it's just the way the system is set up. Yeah, and it's annoying, and I hate it.
Yeah.
We should go back to where like the person who wins the most votes or wins the most electoral votes becomes president, and the person who wins the second most electoral votes becomes vice president. We should go back to that. Why did we stop doing that?
that would encourage assassinations. So
look, if people aren't assassinating people like Trump and Biden, we don't have to worry about assassinations.
True, but still. That was part of the reason why
I'm not endorsing assassinating anybody.
Right, yeah, no.
Increase
actually,
Secret Service.
Yeah, really.
There were some people that were trying to assassinate Obama. So, like,
that's true. I mean, I think every president has had at least one assassination attempt, but usually they're pretty pathetic and laughable.
Yeah.
I think there was that crazy person who
tried to assassinate Trump. Did that ever happen?
Not that I can remember. I do know that somebody tried to like ram into the White House in like an SUV or something. But it wasn't to assassinate Trump. It was just because he was mad about the IRS or some shit. I don't even remember. But I do remember the guy who actually jumped the fence when George W. Bush was in office and was trying to like blow up the president with a dud grenade. It was a fake grenade. Like the president wasn't even there. He was at Camp David or something.
You didn't read the description on eBay.
Exactly. He's just a lunatic. Oh. That's what most assassination attempts are like.
Yeah, it's yeah, and
if you want to assassinate the president, you got to get the mob and the CIA involved. It's the only way to do it.
And what ultimately irks me is because again, like I think it's Tennessee and a couple other states have followed suit in Florida, where the Democratic Party has elected the primary winner by not allowing the others to submit themselves onto the ballot.
That's anti-democratic. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think the incumbent should get like an automatic pass.
No, I think that there should be a primary in every state. So.
Yeah. And there should not be coronations.
Here's the problem about not allowing the Democratic Party is all we're hearing is the Republican perspective right now, because there's been 4 debates that they've had. And also I do believe that I feel that if you're running for president, you do not have the ability to not participate in the debates.
A fucking minute.
Yes, correct.
That if you do
it should be. If you're going on the ballot, you have to, or you're just taking off.
Or you're taking off the ballot.
We're going in the other direction. I mean, Trump's going to win. I don't know if he's going to win the actual presidency, but he's going to win the primary. And then next time a primary comes around for the president, they're going to be like, why do we have to debate? Trump didn't debate.
Yeah.
And so we're going to see less and less debates going forward. I
So
think
what
that's
do you-
just
Right.
inevitable.
Do you think
now.
that if they convict him on anything, that that Republican,
No.
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think the
No.
Republicans have convinced themselves that all of the indictments are just smoke.
They're all fake.
They're
Yeah, but
all
what
fake.
if he
And
gets convicted and thrown in
even if he
jail?
gets convicted
Yeah.
and put in jail, they're going to think
Yeah.
that it's just a setup.
Yeah.
They wear
And they'll elect
shirts. They wear shirts that say "Never Surrender" of him surrendering to the Georgia state
Yeah.
for booking.
But now,
They don't comprehend the moronacy that
They're
is
leading us
their
into a
existence.
constitutional crisis, especially if he
Yeah.
gets convicted in Georgia, which honestly I think he should be. I think that's the strongest
Yeah.
case
Yes.
against
Yeah,
him.
I think it
Yes.
is too.
And that's the one he can't be. It's the one he can't pardon himself for.
Yeah,
if he gets
could
elected.
he actually be thrown in jail in Georgia, in
Yeah.
a Georgia jail,
But
On a state
and
crime.
stay there for as
No.
long as they say he has to.
Here's the problem with it is that if they do convict him,
Mhm.
which fortunately that one I believe will be televised.
I think so too. I think the fake
all of
electors
them
thing is
should be.
You can't get out of it.
All of them should be
Mhm.
televised, right? And the fact that the
believe
federal
all-
ones
Trial should be televised. That's
Yeah.
what it expressed for me.
and the fact that the federal ones are not being permitted to be televised because they're like, we don't want this to be a circus. No, people need
It
to
already
know
is a
about
fucking
this.
circus. Have you met
Oh, I
Donald
know,
Trump?
I
right?
thought one of the federal ones is going to be televised because he petitioned to have it televised.
Yeah, no, I think one of them is going to
Yeah.
be, but this one
Yeah.
that he just recently lost,
Yeah.
like wasn't televised, right?
Mhm.
And to me, like is ridiculous that it's not like and if it were to be televised, now, just because a trial is televised, as we learned with O.J. Simpson trial, doesn't mean that necessarily the facts will truly get out.
Well,
And again,
That depends on the strength of the defense and the prosecution, not
Also,
necessarily
yeah,
whether or
true.
not it's true.
keep in mind that
That's true.
they're gonna, Fox News, OAN,
They'll spin
Newsmax
it,
are.
but I
they're
mean, there's
all
only
gonna-
so much
they're
you
all
can
gonna-
spin raw
they're all
footage
gonna
that's
cut-
being beamed.
They're
in
gonna cut the
everybody's
clips
houses.
out that worked for them, and they're gonna spin that narrative however the
Right,
fuck they want.
right.
That will
And they're gonna make it
absolutely
sound
happen.
like-
I agree.
Yes.
but
They're gonna
like,
make it sound like whatever they want it to sound like, and that's what most of the people that are voting for him, they're watching those shows.
yeah,
You
they
know?
won't actually sit there and be able to.
Yeah.
They won't
They're
actually.
not going
sit
to
there and
watch this
the
trial. They're going to watch
Yeah.
the clips, the snips, the spun narrative, and then they're going to
it's
believe
the truth
that.
social
So,
phenomenon. Like the people
yeah.
who would be most swayed against
Mm-hmm.
Trump by the crazy shit he's been saying on Truth Social aren't paying attention to Truth Social. They don't care.
Yeah.
Right.
Like they don't know how completely and utterly unhinged he's become. To make like 2016
Mm-hmm.
Trump look like a sane human being, he's
Yeah.
off the fucking range, man.
Yeah.
Who this would benefit isn't the people watching. Like it would benefit the low information independent voters.
And that's what wins and
Mm-hmm.
loses elections.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's where it would become essential for our democracy, right?
No, I
because
agree.
again, and what irks me is that, and because we are losing this, I brought up the Ladies of Liberty from Stagecoach in our previous stream or whatever. Like
Yeah.
right. And again, like another group, the Daughters of the Confederation or
I sensed
like-
a larger conversation in there before we steered back.
yeah like there is I felt like I intimated enough right
You did.
in there, and so that like there's some themes and so like that what's the group now where the women down in Florida that are pushing to like get certain books banned?
Is it
and-
Moms for Liberty?
Oh, Moms
Moms
for Liberty. Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
it is. Yes. Right.
The lady that had sex with or they had a threesome, and then there's allegations of rape and stuff like that. Is that
no,
the one you're talking about?
and again, yeah, but
Yeah,
which
that's the
again, like I loved this young man that came on and did his speech where he's like,
I
you
s- yeah, I
shouldn't
saw
lose your
that,
job because of your threesome.
Yeah,
That's
I
against what
agree.
we're trying to teach you. That's
Yeah.
against what we're trying to say. You should lose your job because you are crap at your job.
Yeah.
And that's why you should like it should
Yeah.
be a meritocracy. You are terrible at your job. And he laid out exactly why
Yeah.
she's terrible at her job. and supported her that like, look, man, whatever you want to do in your private life is perfectly fine. And it shouldn't affect your ability to work, and it shouldn't affect your children and your ability to be a parent, right? And again, I was like, that's our values. He's expressing our values. And what I hate is that on the left, we're like, oh, look, she had a threesome. Who cares? Who cares? What we care about is the hypocrisy.
Don't.
It was less to do with the threesome, more to do with the hypocrisy, and also more to do with the fact that there were allegations of rape from the young woman involved, from the of the husband who went to her house.
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with her. Right.
True,
that has nothing to do with
that
her.
has nothing to do with her.
That has everything to do with him and his job, but nothing to do with her and her job.
True.
Right.
True.
Because she wasn't involved with that.
Yeah.
That
but
was something that
the
her
hypocrisy
husband did.
involved with
Yeah, I don't disagree with, but a lot of the left media and a lot of the left like social media sphere that I see too much of, and I get angry with them and I hate them, and I'm like, you guys are fucking stupid, stop this. But like, Eric,
my blood pressure is so much better now that I don't pay attention to shit like this.
Eric, you would appreciate me speaking up on all of our behalfs, but I think also you'd be like, you know what? I think Scott's channeling me for this one.
I give you free reign, man.
Yeah, so because I try to be fair, I try to be earnestly fair.
It's okay to speak out against hypocrisy, but that's not a reason for somebody to necessarily lose their job. As we're
right, exactly, right.
And we say that while we're having a foursome here on the Fourplay stream.
Yeah,
exactly, right.
Sorry,
and so.
It's our Fourplay love stream.
Love stream, right?
Right. Fourplay love stream.
Excellent.
Well done.
Thank you. I'll be here all week.
One day, my husband will join us, and then it'll be great. Because I love.
I'll bring Kurt Russell just to piss you off.
No, I would love it. I love Kurt Russell. Yeah, it's a. Yeah, when I was thinking back, I was like, man, like I came off. I don't think I phrased it right, because I do like Tombstone. I don't.
You made your point. I just kept goading you.
I know. I was like, I do love Tombstone, and I do love Kurt Russell, because again, I love Kurt Russell, especially in a Western movie, right? Like, I just think he's great in it, and I agree with that. Like, I was just trying to see it in the comparison of the two is like the pros and cons, but I liked your framing of that. Anyways, so to kind of also finally get to our last thing, what are your thoughts about Nikki Haley avoiding bringing up? I do love Kurt Russell, but I won't cheat on my husband with him. But no, like,
but threesome, yeah.
Threesome, I'd be all about. That is 100%. Kurt Russell.
He has to have the mustache, though.
I'm sure Goldie Hawn would be all for it if you're all right. But like, you're welcome.
I want to throw
to
this
our
out there.
threesome with
only other person I think that belongs in westerns as much as Sam Elliott would be. It just had his name on the Magnum PI.
Tom Selleck.
Tom Selleck.
Talking about mustaches.
Talking about mustaches. Tom Selleck. He belongs in westerns. Yeah.
We'll get there when we talk about Quigley. One of these.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about it in the next one. I'm gonna bring that.
Can I ask a question? Yeah. Y'all probably haven't, but have y'all mentioned they call me Trinity at all?
Somebody in the comments did, but I didn't. No.
Have y'all watched that? Mm-mm. Ever watched it?
I know of it, but I haven't watched it. No.
It's hilarious. Y'all have to watch that.
Anyway, what were we talking about? Oh, Nikki Haley and
Nikki Haley.
And we gotta make this quick because it's 5:00 and I gotta make dinner. So
it's 5:00. So, time for a drink.
Yeah, it's beer 30, man. Come on.
So
it's beer o'clock at least.
What are your thoughts about her not bringing it up? What do you think the motivation and or lack thereof?
Oh, the slavery Civil War thing. Yeah. Okay.
Just she was asked like what caused the Civil War. I mean, I'm just making sure I get the facts because I'm only knowing this secondhand. She was asked what the Civil War what the cause was of the Civil War, and she didn't say slavery. She didn't even mention it. Is that am I right?
States'
right.
Yes.
States' rights. It said the states' rights thing.
Yeah.
I think it's because there's a very large and vocal segment of the Republican Party voters who actually believe that it's about states' rights and not slavery. Although honestly, it was about both. But
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's why.
States'
That's the
rights
motivation.
for what?
Right.
States' rights
exactly.
for
Exactly.
slavery.
Exactly. Yes.
Right. No, states' rights for the individual to have property.
What
Let's not
property?
going to talk about what
to
property
the
that is.
people. Yeah.
Right.
I think
yeah.
it was absolutely wrong of her not to bring up slavery because that's absolutely the point. And she should have. But I know the motivation. I
agree
personally hate that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
here in the South, in American history class, I remember my teacher, and I think we probably all did. We all have the same American history teacher.
I didn't.
I can't even remember a
Okay.
name.
Was yours a coach?
I believe so. Yeah,
Okay. Was it a football coach and baseball coach?
I think so. Yeah.
Think
Yeah, that was mine.
so.
Yeah. So the first thing that was brought up in the history book, if I remember correctly, and the thing that was talked about the most in the book that they used in our high school was the states' right argument. Slavery was
Yeah.
mentioned
Oh,
as
yeah,
a
yeah.
side note,
Wow.
Yeah.
specifically
That's
as a
fucked
side note. It was mentioned. It was brought up. But it was more on the argument side of states' rights to do what they want. And in this case, the North saw it as the states' rights to have slaves and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, it was about slavery specifically. That's
Right.
what the problem was. Yeah, states'
That-
rights.
that-
have
See,
a
I-
right to-
You just-
I hadn't.
Yeah, it's like reading the succession, reasons that they are succeeding from
Seceding.
the union. Yeah, sorry. But the reasons why.
The reason they didn't succeed.
Yeah. Sorry. You are the word of fire.
If it weren't for semantics, I'd have nothing.
Yes. But I was like, all you got to do is read those, and you got your answer,
Mhm.
No,
The
I
speech by the-
genuinely
the-
had a hard time with this whole debate about, like, especially in Florida, about like schools not teaching about slavery. Because in my own personal anecdotal experience, when I was in high school in Florida, even in middle school, like, I definitely learned about slavery. I learned a lot about slavery and where it came from and the kinds of shit we were doing to people. And, so it surprises me to learn that you guys did not have the same experience, but maybe it shouldn't, because I grew up in Orlando. You guys grew up in bumfuck
Yeah,
Pensacola.
because the further south you seem to go in Florida, the more
The
north
further
you
north
go.
you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can say from my own anecdotal experience, again, my son is definitely learning a lot about slavery. Even when I took him on that field trip to New York and Washington, like, I think half of that trip was about slavery. So he's definitely getting an education in that. So I don't,
That's good.
like I said, I don't know where I stand on the whole issue, because from my perspective, from my own personal experience, I haven't seen that. I haven't seen slavery being brushed aside. But I do believe people who say that it is being brushed aside in certain corners.
I've seen it happen several times in several different things, like in historic, you take a tour of a historic place here in Pensacola and slavery is mentioned, but not like it's like, it's kind of like mentioned on the side, like, oh, and there were slaves. Now let's go look at this over here.
No,
That's
they
wild.
learn trades. They
Yeah.
learn trades
Yeah.
and they learn skills. It's
And
an
this is where the
earnest-
slaves learned how to use the sawmill over here so they could
Yeah.
cut all the trees up for the buildings that were being built. And
When we
let's
took
talk
a-
about this over here.
A tour of Washington's home. I can't remember what the fuck is Washington's home?
Is it Monticello or is
No,
that
that's
Jefferson?
Jefferson's.
Okay.
Anyway, we went to Washington's
Vernon.
home. Mount Vernon, thank you. And like, the entire tour was about slavery and about how Washington treated his slaves and how horrible it really was for the slaves. Even the slaves who made out good were still living terrible lives. And they did not sugarcoat jack shit. So, and that was like the official tour. Like, that wasn't our teachers doing that. That was the tour doing that.
When I took a tour in I think it was where's Myrtle Beach?
That's in
South Carolina. Okay.
Yeah.
We vacationed when I still lived in Canada. We vacationed once to Florida, but we stopped in Myrtle Beach for a week. That was a bad idea in the wintertime, by the way. That's
I've been to Myrtle
Atlantic
Beach
is-
a few times. My
Yeah.
my extended family has a house there.
Yeah. Not the nicest weather. For people coming from Canada to get away from the cold and going to
Yeah,
South
Myrtle Beach is
Carolina.
fucking cold ass beach.
Yeah. Anyway, we went there and that was a bad idea. Anyway, we toured a plantation while we were there. And we went through the whole work area as they called it, not like the slave homes and stuff, but that's what it was. And they were showing us,
Like a
oh, and
plantation.
they used to make baskets out of reeds, and we actually bought one in the gift store, you know, blah blah blah. And they had this little black lady sitting there freaking making baskets out of reeds, and they didn't even mention that this was the slave area where they made the baskets out of reeds and stuff, and you know, barely touched on that at all. It was more to do with like you know, Southern aristocracy, and you know,
Yep.
they were going
See,
on and
that
on and
actually-
on about all of that. And
That
it was
actually
like,
doesn't surprise me because it's South fucking Carolina.
yeah, and it was just
No,
like, I'm
like
sure they've
Louisiana,
changed it
like when
since
you-
then.
No,
but yeah, it
there's-
was bad.
You go to some of the plantations, like even
Mhm.
Louisiana and stuff like
Mhm.
that. Like they talk about what the plantation owner's life was like,
Mhm.
but they don't emphasize what the slave's life was
Yeah,
like. as
correct.
much.
That's exactly
because
what
it-
we went over. Yeah.
Because if you think about this, how many times have you seen a photo of someone's wedding at a plantation?
Too
Often.
many.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like this is where people were had their children stolen from them and sold to someone else, and their husbands sold to someone else, like we do like cattle or sheep,
Yeah.
right? And that you know, and like how many like pictures of you la da da like do you want to do when you're like yeah, by the way, like 300 slaves were like slaughtered here because they were trying to escape,
Mhm.
like under your feet, jeez, like you don't like if the realism comes out, you're not gonna like they're not gonna make a profit, right? Because they're gonna be thinking about the trauma, the abuse, the horrific nature. But if you talk about like Gone with the Wind and
Yeah.
Scarlett O'Hara,
Yeah.
right, and that kind of construct, and the antebellum South, right, and mint juleps, then that sounds romantic, and you're going to want to go there to have your wedding, right? And so that's like, so there's a financial incentive to these plantations to doing that. Whereas if you're talking about the horrors of everything that happened, you know, and the atrocities, and like, oh yeah, and this is where, you know, Umbella, who came from the Ivory Coast, and was like forced over here. This is where she was like violated and had her baby, who was later like shipped away so that the slave owner's wife wouldn't suspect that the slave owner was taking liberties with the slaves, right? And like was sold off. Like if you hear that story about child trafficking, right, and human trafficking, you're not going to want to get your wedding there, right? Like that's just that's a blood diamond. Bringing that back, right?
Nice.
That is
Nice
a blood diamond,
Excellent.
right? And
Perfectly
so,
relevant.
and so like when I think back at some of our discussions about like the absurdities of some of these arguments or whatever regarding this, like I was thinking about like, I was like, you know what? Eric grew up in Orlando. Orlando's pretty purple. Like, I bet
Yeah.
you he didn't have the experience, because I was thinking exactly like you, Damien. Our history teacher told us about the states' rights, and that this was a war to prevent a centralized federal government imposing its will on a people. So it's a war of freedom, right?
I remember the teacher saying something about that, you know, when somebody brought up, you know, why are we talking so much about this and not about slavery? And I want to say it was one of the black girls in class. May have even been somebody that we both know that was very outspoken about that. First
That
name started
eventually
with a
became
T.
Yeah. That eventually became a
Pretty
city.
sure
a
she
city
was in my
representative.
class, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway,
Yeah.
Well, good
I
for
remember
her.
the teacher, and I think I'm pretty sure he was a coach, and he was kind of dopey, if you know what I mean. Basically saying, well, that's what it says in the book.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm teaching. And
Yeah.
there's this whole long discussion one day in class, if I remember correctly, where there were raised voices about this whole situation. And I remember I was like, Yeah, I agree with her. I'm from Canada. We were
I'm
taught
not
early
gonna.
on.
I'm not gonna say shit
Yeah.
about the teacher though, because I know how the
Mhm.
politics of teaching, especially in Florida,
Yeah, they have
are.
to
He
teach what
didn't
they're
really
told
have
to
a
teach.
choice.
And he was very stoic about it. I'll give him that. He was very much just like, look, I understand your point.
I
but
don't
this
know
is
anything
what
about the guy. I don't know where he
Yeah.
actually
No, no,
stood
no.
or anything. I'm just
But he
saying
was-
he had
yeah.
a reason.
No,
Yeah, but
This
he
is
was
the-
like,
this
you know,
is-
this is what I have to teach because this is what's in the
Right.
book, and
No.
I don't disagree with you, but you know, I
No.
can't, you know,
He
teach
100% in our
Yeah.
class said the best history book,
Mhm.
like not regarding like faith and what have you, but when it comes to just straight history, one of the best books out there is the Bible.
You gotta love teachers in Pensacola.
Dubious.
Yeah. So
I remember when I
Yeah,
moved
but
down here.
that's not a
Yeah.
firing offense here
I
in
remember when I moved down
Pensacola.
here.
That
I was told I couldn't say
saying
the word-
otherwise would be.
I was told I couldn't say the word hell. That was a cuss word. And I was like, how is
Yep,
hell
yep.
a cuss word?
Yep,
It's
yep,
just
yep.
the word hell. I was like, what the hell?
We can say heaven all day, but hell, no.
Right.
I couldn't say the word God in any other way other than saying that there was a God or whatever, because that's taking
Yeah, you
the
couldn't
Lord's
use
name
that
in
as
vain.
yeah, you can't take the
Yeah.
Lord's name in vain. Like that was
Oh,
that was
yeah,
in
I did that
schools.
at PE one time.
No, I
and
know.
Somebody lost their fucking mind because I flipped it just out of sheer frustration. I said like, what did I say instead of? I said something like "fuck God" or something like that instead of "God fucking damn it."
Yeah.
The people just like, what? What did you say?
Anyway. Yeah.
to
This
to
is the
highlight
Bible
the
Belt.
drastic differences between my educational
Yeah.
experience and yours, like I first saw Inherit the Wind about the Scopes monkey trial in high school. Like we talked about how awful it is to not share the truth and to like let religious dogma dictate what you're allowed to learn and stuff like that. And so
We had kids walking around our high school with Confederate battle flags on their backpacks.
And on their cars.
Yeah, and on their cars.
I mean,
and
I saw that too, but
saying, you know, oh, it's about Southern pride. It's
I
about
see
Southern
them at
pride.
work.
Yeah. It's like,
No,
try to explain that one to some of the black students here in the school.
But then it'll be like, oh, but that was the Democrat. Why are you flying the Democrat flag then? What are you doing? I don't get it.
Yeah.
It's like pick a side, motherfucker.
Yeah, I will say that before high school, I did grow up in Ocoee, Florida, which is outside of Orlando and was basically hick country. And I did, when I was very young, see a burning cross across the street, and my parents had to explain that.
Yeah.
That's a very vivid memory, and I'm glad we got the fuck out of that town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So like it you know it so especially when like again because one of our I've talked about, I think I've talked to you guys about this before, I think in our podcast or whatever. Like one of the first things my wife saw when I was showing her Pensacola, we were on 12th and Airport at the corner going south. And I suddenly hear my wife go, "What the fuck is that?" And I'm like, what? Like that. And she points over to the side. And I'm like, oh, that's just Jesus. And it's this man dressed up as Jesus carrying this giant cross north on 12th Street, waiting at the cross light. And then like we're parked and he just like was waiting at the cross light and then started crossing at the crosswalk, you know, and I was like, oh, that's just Jesus. And she was like,
Don't
and
see
I was
him
like,
anymore.
it's
I don't know
Pensacola.
where he went.
Have you found Jesus? I don't know where he's walking today.
Yeah, he's somewhere around here. Just keep looking. You'll find him.
Yeah.
Check the lake. You might be walking.
He rose.
around.
He rose.
Sometimes he's crossing the 3 Mile Bridge, you know.
And
I haven't seen him in a long time. Is he still doing that?
I don't know.
I don't know.
The other runner is with
Is
the
that
flag all the time.
Yeah.
He's still out, but
Is he? I haven't seen him in a while.
I see him on this part of town.
And then there's the smiling guy that runs across the bridge all the time. He skips. He doesn't run. He skips. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's always smiling. He's like,
Remember the cowboy?
yeah. Yeah, I remember the cowboy running around damn near naked, wearing a Speedo and a cowboy hat.
Yeah. Black cowboy walking down Fairfield.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys hear about that guy in Walt Disney World who was in It's a Small World, got off the ride and stripped off all of his clothes and went completely nuts?
Yeah.
And they had to drag him out.
He was like on what was he on? He was on something.
Something. I don't remember.
It was either
what.
acid or PCP.
Yeah, he was really
something.
messed up. Yeah, I think it was PCP. Yeah. But I've been stuck on It's a Small World. I get it.
One of those guys that's like, yeah.
That's if getting naked is the worst thing you did.
Go see Small World. This will be so cool. It's like halfway through, you're like, nope, get me off this fucking thing.
Yeah.
And I've seen the uncensored footage, and it really is a small world.
Oh,
The
that
water's
poor
just
man.
cold, man.
Yeah, that water. I bet it's
He's
cold.
a,
I bet it's
he's a
chilly.
grower, not a
Correct.
shower. Don't be
right.
so judgmental. Damn.
Yeah.
No, like I just
You gotta piss with the dick you're given, you know?
Doesn't mean you have to show it to all the children.
I agree.
He thought it was a good idea, apparently.
Hey.
He wasn't
not only
thinking about the
that,
children.
Just think about like how you would feel if your entire existence was sitting in this weird place with people all across the world singing the exact same song with that dead look in your eye. And then you had to see that. Like the things that
No, like I
those
said, I
small
get it.
children have seen in their existence. Oh my God, dude. Those poor children.
Anyway.
God, could you imagine, like, all of these years, like, what if those were actual, like, little kids that were just, like, preserved forever, like, immortality and stuck there? Because Walt Disney, I think, would have, I like, Walt Disney absolutely.
You clearly haven't
would have
gone
done that.
far enough down the Disney rabbit hole.
But, like,
they absolutely are.
and all of the crap that they have seen over, like, could you imagine all of the stuff that they have seen on that ride? Like,
They'd probably thank the PCP guy taking off all his clothes. It's like a break in the monotony,
true.
Oh.
Yeah. So
Better version of Five Nights at Freddy's.
yeah, there you go. Oh, a more horrific version.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just kind of curious about like y'all's thoughts because I thought like it would when I was thinking about that question, I was thinking about the fact that again Eric grew up in Orlando versus Pensacola, and like it would be an interesting discussion because again, if it wasn't for, and I'm gonna say his name because he is a hero and a great I adored this guy, and he's one of those pivotal figures in me is Mr. Goalie from Pensacola. He was a phenomenal teacher, and like I would have questions after class and I would ask him about different things and he would, give me a little bit more insights. And so really taught me to like look beyond just what we were getting in our school books, about like, there's more to these events than just what we're seeing. And I thought also with us, talking about the Westerns, right? And in the Western streams, that when you think about like the bombing of Tulsa and the fact that when Watchmen came out, the TV series came out, and they really talked about, and they had that opening of like, this really happened. And it was like the bombing of Tulsa, and people are like, wait, what? And then they're like, it gets them interested. So they go and they Google that and they're like, wait, our government dropped bombs on our city. And that's not the only time that that's happened. And like, why are we not learning about this? Right. Because that's a violation of our military, like the military and our constitution. Like the military is not allowed theoretically to drop bombs on
The
U.S.
Posse
citizens.
Comitatus wasn't really ratified until like
Right, true.
1890 or something.
Right. But like it was like this crazy thing, right? And then when you now that some of the things that we're that are coming out with some of the movies that we're talking about in westerns, like, you know, Bury My Heart and Wounded Knee, you know, or the movie I just watched was The Killers of the Flower Moon.
Yeah.
Like, when you learn about the fact that these things actually, like, and one of the things that ticked me off about that movie is that, so one of the things that they talk about is that they are indigent. There are certain people that are indigent and certain people that are not, of this tribe. And what they don't go into is, why are they considered indigent, right? The reason is because in Oklahoma, they had a law called the Savage Law, where if you were found to be too savage, you were not allowed to own property. You were not allowed to control your money. You were not allowed to have a bank account because you were too savage to.
Like Britney Spears.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And
I say that as a joke, but yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so they had to go and ask for money and explain why they had payees. And we have that for people like today that have things like severe schizophrenia, right? That are so like psychotic that, and their brain has had so much damage due to schizophrenia that they're no longer like their white matter, like their ventricles like start to expand, meaning an erosion of the actual brain matter. So like you will see like in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and they seemed a little bit like dumbed down. That's not entirely because of the medications, but long-term schizophrenia, you will actually see that because because the brain actually erodes away. And you get these massive, when you do scans of them, their ventricles are massive. They're like, a ventricle is supposed to be like this big, and theirs are like this big. Like they lose all of the white matter. They like, not all of it, but they lose massive amounts of the white matter. And so their executive functioning's down, all of this. Like, it is a horrid disease, right?
I didn't
and
know that, which surprises
Yes.
me that I didn't know that.
yeah, no. And like, no, I had to like scream out Medicaid once because I was like, yeah, schizophrenia is a degenerative disease and causes brain damage. And that's why I need to get them on an injectable, long-acting injectable. And they're like, so you're trying to tell me that schizophrenia is degenerative? And I'm like, it causes brain damage? And I'm like, how do you not know this? Like, what are you talking about? Who am I talking to? I need to talk to somebody who actually knows about this disease, because you obviously don't. Like, this is ludicrous. And so, like, you know, why am I arguing with you about getting, you know, approval for a medication when you don't even understand the disease itself and why I would need to give that? Anyways, so it's so like, and again, when they were 18, they functioned and spoke and thought, besides the psychosis, like you and I do. Quick, smart, all those different things. And then
you mean besides our psychosis? Yes.
Right, exactly. But again, like, we haven't had the erosion yet, right? And so they're quick, right? And then you look at them and all of these things that happen, right? And this like affective flattening, all that different stuff. And again, that's because of the harm, the damage that it does to the actual brain itself, right? And so they need payees because they cannot function. Or someone with severe, you know, bipolar disorder might need a payee because it's so uncontrolled that they might get manic and spend all their money, right? So, but they were doing it because they were too savage to be able to handle. These indigenous people were too savage. And we don't learn about that. We don't learn about the fact that, you know, we might learn about them getting their children stolen away, right? And losing their whole identity. Like, but we don't really learn about that. We don't learn about all the different wars. We don't, again, there's some of that old school, at least when I was in school, some of that old school Western movie, like the people going west for just trying to protect their land. And I'm like, it's like, but what do you think the indigenous? What do you? What?
They're just trying to take their land.
Wait, what do you think the indigenous people were trying to do? Like, if you know, it always said like if Saudi Arabia or China like started coming over here and started just buying up land,
Yeah, buying up land without paying you for it because they're
Right.
just because as far as they're concerned, it doesn't belong to you.
You don't
It
even
belongs to
exist.
them.
You're not even a person, right?
Yeah.
And they are doing this
And
like
to
again,
us,
like it's not
land
happening
is
this
just
time.
something to be purchased. To them, land was literally their god that gave birth
Right.
to them. You know.
Right. Yeah. Right. And so like, they were like, and then on top of it, you were no longer allowed to have your name. You are no longer allowed to have your faith or your traditions, right? Oh, you celebrate Christmas? Nope, we're going to actually have a true war on Christmas. And you're not allowed to celebrate that because that's savage stuff, right? Like if we really start to sit there and think about it from that perspective, like it's a crazy thing that we did. And we don't always learn about all of the stuff that was going on, you know.
Yeah, I'm mad at my college professors in abnormal psychology for not teaching me that about schizophrenia. So.
Oh yeah.
Anyway,
Anyway.
Scott, we're
Yeah, anyways,
we're-
yeah.
Dinner.
Yeah.
No, it's
Yeah.
time. Yep.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
So wrap it up.
so that's so we'll follow up again in 2 weeks on the 13th or 14th. We'll see how our schedules are going, and we'll figure out what we're going to talk about in that time. And so,
Whatever it is, we won't, or we'll start to and forget.
well, this time I actually had notes, and so I was able to kind of actually like we actually.
I
talked
felt
about
like you were
everything.
following some kind of plan, which was surprising me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
That's
I actually
scary.
had them right here, and I was like, okay, now
We
let's
should-
move on to the next one.
Let's see if we could put like a checklist on the side of the screen and
Yeah. Maybe
see how
put it in
many
the
we
private
can
chat
get
or
through.
Actually, get
Yeah.
there. Yeah. Hey, I only put like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 5 topics. We got them all. So it permitted plenty of room for
It works.
So all
there
right.
was much rejoicing.
Yeah, I know. All right, y'all. Much love. Enjoy yourself.
Everybody have a
have a great
safe
New Year.
Yeah.
New
Yeah.
Year's
Yeah, Happy
Eve
New Year,
party.
everyone. Yeah,
Yeah.
don't get too drunk.
Don't hurt yourself.
Yeah.
All right.
Too
All
much.
right.
Bye.
Peace.